bitch. Oh, excuse you? Baloney wash. I'm annoyed. I'm just here to give my opinion and carry in. Oh, it's Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch. Hey y'all, welcome and happy Friday. It's your boy Chris Avalon. Welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered, a show where we basically talk about all things going on in celebrity news, hot topics, and pop culture. So if that's a show for you, definitely stick around because we have a lot of tea to spill today, including some news on X-Men and Blade. We also have some Scream 8 news, courtesy of Daniel RPK. The Batman 2, word on the curb is that Matt Reeves may not be coming back to direct the sequel, so we're getting into that based on production stuff that came out. Plus, we got some more Diddy news. His defense team is basically trying to make it seem like, oh, Diddy wasn't abusive towards Cassie. They were abusive towards each other. So they're basically trying to go with that defense. Excuse me. Plus, I believe that we talked about this on the show before, but there was a guy that pow-powed apparently at Mar-a-Lago. I believe they were trying to take out the current president. Didn't do a good enough job, you ain't asked me. But he claims that he was Diddy's sex slave and signed a $5 million NDA. So we're going to get into that. Plus, Jennifer Lopez is detailing her promise to her two children, amid the whole Ben Affleck divorce. We got some tea on Michele finally admitting the elephant in the room because apparently over the years, remember back in the days of Glee, that they were saying that she was a nightmare to work with on that damn show. Well, apparently she's speaking out, and she spoke about it on a podcast, and basically was talking about that, yeah, there was some fractured relationships or friendships going on with the other cast members following, the Mean Girl stuff, Corey Monteith's death, that whole sort of thing. So we'll get into that. Plus, it's been a couple of days since the Met Gala, 4 days to be exact. And Melissa Rivers is weighing in on the whole fashion situation and saying that why fashion police would not work today. So we'll get into that. Liev Schreiber is the latest to have a trans child and is speaking out on his trans child. So it's like every day you bat your eye. It seems like the celebrities got either a non-binary child or a trans child. So we get into that. Plus, we got to talk about All Stars 10. I watched both episodes, so we got to talk about it. Plus, and break down that twist. Katya is addressing whether or not she's going to come back to All Star. She was on Race Chasers and spoke about it, so we'll get into that. Plus, it looks like Lil Nas X is pulling out of the Outland Music Festival in WeHo, so we got to talk about that. And a whole lot more. I just had to take a sip real quick. So, before we get to said topics, if you can please do me a solid and hit me up that like button. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button and also smash the notification bell so that when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. After the live chat, I will be putting in timestamps into the show so that way for those of you who come and watch the playback later on, if you're not here for the live chat or the live stream, you can basically just click on the buttons of choice. And you can basically just go to the topic you want to hear about instead of having to sit through the whole show like some people do. And like I said, I appreciate all of you, if I don't say it enough, who chime in, who kiki with me during the show, the new subscribers. The numbers are definitely going up, so I'm pretty happy about that because the more those subscribers go up, the more coins I get. And I could turn this into a full-time job and not have to be working a regular job plus doing this. I could actually invest in this full-time, which is something I not most likely, it's something I definitely want to do and move on to other things that plays into this entertainment space because this has always been a passion of mine. It's not something I just jumped on because it's a cute little grift. This is all, entertainment, media, podcasting, running my mouth, and then me having the gift of gab is always a gift that I've always had, or something I've always had. I just trying to monetize it and make that good coin like everybody else is making. So yet again, yes. Damn, I can't even talk. I appreciate every last one of y'all, all the likes, all the comments, all the subscriptions, all that good stuff. And even appreciate the people that try to throw shade. Because without y'all, I'd be boring. So without further ado, let me hit the banner. And let's get into our first topic, which is so yesterday, because I was going to put a show together, but apparently the internet was interneting. It was just a bunch of mess that was going on. So we already spoke the other day about Kevin Feige speaking out about like the shape of the MCU and how it was pretty much like it was just oversaturated and they were just trying to flood the zone instead of focusing on quality. I mean, the quality work instead of just trying to put so much on the Disney Plus channel, plus in the theaters. It became overwhelming for the fans. And it also felt like homework at times, which even for me as a fan, I've always felt like it was homework. I'm not gonna break that down. I already did a whole separate video on that. So y'all can check it in the, on my channel. I have the video up. Y'all can pretty much watch my overall thought of that. Because I don't want to repeat myself. But yesterday it came out that there was a story. I think it was courtesy of Comic Book Movie. And they were saying that they still don't have a director for Blade or X-Men. So I was ready to come on here and talk about that, but apparently there's another story that came out. So right after, what had happened was they're saying that the director of Thunderbolts is actually in talks to direct the new X-Men movie. So yeah, I'm going to combine both topics together because I just feel like that's kind of what needs to happen because it was basically about both shows. So I was like, where is that story, by the way? Because it's like my notes is all over the place. Okay, so I have it. So basically, Jack Schreier, who, directed Thunderbolts. I enjoyed Thunderbolts. I did a review of Thunderbolts along with the box office, all that good stuff. So now they're looking at him because of Thunderbolts that they want him to direct X-Men, which I'm thinking he might actually be a good idea because when you watch Thunderbolts, you realize that he's really good at assembling different characters with different personalities from all over aspects of who were all in different movies. He was able to bring them all together in one full group and make it work. And I feel like that's what needs to happen when it comes to X-Men, that you can pull some people in and from all different places and try to work out those personalities. I really think that he's good at the whole personality thing. I also think, because now I'm thinking about it, because I told y'all the other day why I was mad, like all of a sudden, why after all this clever marketing that y'all did, after opening weekend, y'all decided to reveal that they're the new Avengers. I'm thinking that it was panicking. That Disney got in panic mode and decided to reveal that because they sort of numbers was a numbering. The numbers was like $75 million opening weekend, which is pretty low for a MCU movie. It was like Brave New World brought in more money on their opening weekend. I mean, it fizzled afterwards. It went downhill afterwards. I think all the people who wanted to see the movie saw it during opening weekend, and maybe a couple of days after, people got to see what they wanted to see. And then after that, people just like, okay, it's not a good movie, and it made what it made. But Thunderbolts actually is that movie that I feel like is good, that people should see it, that word of mouth will help it. But I do feel like that they got in panic mode, and now they're not trusting that the audience will come out and see these films because they've been burned in the past by so many MCU movies that they feel like, well, we had to reveal that they're the Avengers, and now people will have to go to the movies to find out how do they become the new Avengers and things like that. So I feel like it was that whole thing was panic. Now now that I thought about it, because I was sitting there asking it, like, why would they do that? I really feel like they panicked and they're not trusting that the word of mouth is going to be enough. But I'm like sinners, I just think that you just need to be patient and just wait to see how week 2 does. Now, if week 2, it kind of falters a little bit, then I'd be like, okay, the strategy, we need to reveal the new Avengers angle. So I would have did that instead of opening weekend. I'm like, God damn, let people get a second to see the movie before y'all start spoiling stuff. But anyway, so now I just want to get it out of the way before I get to this. So, and before I forget. So it is unknown, they said, where things stand in the deal-making process, but insiders said that following a meeting this past week, Schreier looks to be the top choice to take on one of the studio's most anticipated projects. Michael Leslie penned the script with Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige producing. Now, Marvel Studio had no comment. So they said that the studio has been taking its time in finding the right person to take over directing duties and has made it clear it doesn't want to rush the process, similar to how it handled pitches from potential writing candidates last year. Now, after months of meetings, momentum started to favor Schreier when early reactions to Thunderbolts began to trickle out about a return to form for Marvel Studios. The film opened with an impressive 162 million global take, as well as some of the best reviews in years for Marvel. So Marvel and Schreier had incredible experience working together on Thunderbolts, a film that has since won over critics and fans, becoming Marvel's best reviewed film since Spider-Man No Way Home in 2021. While that recent meeting sealed the deal, Marvel execs were well aware how much Schreier loved the X-Men comics, an early sign that he would ultimately get one of those meetings to pitch his vision of what a new X-Men movie would look like. Even before the reactions began to come out about how impressive Thunderbolts was, studios already were trying to get in business with the director, but sources say in recent days he has begun turning down jobs as all signs were pointing to him landing one of the coveted directing openings in town. It's hardly a surprise that Marvel would stay in-house for this film, given how often it has rewarded directors with big assignments following the success of previous jobs. And that is what they do, because remember with the Russo brothers, when they did uh the last two Captain America movies, Civil War, and then they did why do I always forget the other one with with George St. Pierre? I'm always forgetting the name of that damn movie, and that's actually one of my favorite movies, but I'm drawing a blank. Excuse me. But yeah, when the Russo brothers came along and Winter Soldier. I don't know why I couldn't remember that damn name. So funny enough, as I'm typing it in, I put CAPT, and then it comes to my damn brain. So yeah, when they directed those two movies, then they were like, "Oh my god, y'all did such a great job with those films, even surpassing the first one. That we're gonna bring this guy in. I mean, the Russos in to direct the last two Avengers movies. Hence why I see why they're bringing him in for these other two Avengers movies, because when it ain't broke, don't fix it. And they've been faltering a lot lately. So there's a little desperation it feels on Disney's part. So far, y'all on the right track. Even though it does reek of desperation on the type of choices that you're making in regards to directors. But if this guy is a fan of X-Men, now, I'm not mad at this news. I hope he actually does get it. And I'm hoping to see where he goes with it. But I did hear that one of the actresses, I've heard two things. One, Patrick Schwarzenegger, they're looking at him for a part in the X-Men movies. They haven't said who they want him to play. I'm guessing Cyclops. I could definitely see him playing Cyclops. They also said that there's a rumor going around that the young lady that played oh my god, what's her Tuck, I think was the character's name in the Avatar movies, is up for Jubilee. So there's those two rumors are floating around. I hope that they got Sadie Sink as Jean Grey. I would love to see that. But then again, they would be like, well, in regard, I wonder how old is Patrick Swayze, because it kind of will look a little like she looks a little childish versus looking at him and all the other stuff. I would have been like the girl that was that survived that last horrible freaking. I would as Jean Grey, the one that survived that horrible freaking The Strangers movie, because she has the red hair and the voluptuous body. I would have been like her, but I don't know. It's all about chemistry and all that other stuff. So if he does get the part as a director, I'm not mad at it, and I'm definitely looking forward to what the Russo brothers are going to bring with this other movie, with Secret Wars and Doomsday. Although I already know how I feel about Robert Downey Jr. as Doomsday, I still don't see it. I need to see trailers. I need to see something to ease my mind, but I'm still not 110% sold on this whole thing. So in regards of the director of Thunderbolts, I like the movie. I like the overall tone. I like the subject matter that they discuss, especially with mental health and stuff. So to see what he does with X-Men, I'm here for it. So I don't feel bad. I mean, if he get the situation. Okay, so now in regards of Blade, let's talk about the David S. Goyer, who or maybe you don't know, wrote all three Blade movies. We already know about Blade Trinity. Blade Trinity is the one that most people do not like. It was not a good movie. The script also wasn't that great. Ryan Reynolds, although yes, the body was body, it looked like he had that same body from Amityville Horror, but for the most part, some of the lines and stuff, he was literally doing Deadpool before we even knew he was going to do Deadpool. That's basically what he was bringing with Hannibal King, and I would love to see Hannibal King back on the big screen in some different type of iteration. And I would love to see Blade back on the screen. But I don't know why nobody thought about the fact of, okay, well, maybe why haven't everybody just went over to met up with David S. Goyer and be like, he wrote all the other Blade movies. We love the first one. We love the second one. The first one, we still talk about to this day. Like whenever, even if I'm not in the mood to watch the full Blade movie, I will put it on just for that opening sequence where they're at the bloodbath, the club scene. That's literally like the best opening of it. And I don't care what nobody say. Don't argue with your mammy. But but that opening sequence is one of my favorite opening sequences ever in a superhero comic book movie. So that scene is forever iconic, especially the way like the partying, the clubbing, everything, people, kids raving, because that was literally me at that age. I mean, back in the day, because I don't know how old they was in that demo, but I was young, out doing the raves and things. But it was like, yeah. So doing all of that and being a part of that and seeing that world depicted on the big screen, it's just something like, why didn't they look at Dave Goyer? They were going to everybody else. But he was the one that actually cracked the code on making Blade cool. And that was the way that that was the best introduction to bringing Blade, just coming in, everybody's moving to the sides, the day walker, they scared, and he goes and kicks everybody's ass and starts staking vampires. Excuse me. So it was a cool opening. So, yeah, so in regards to that, Dave Goyer actually spoke out and is wondering what the hell is taking him so long over there. So he recently told Screen Rant that he is more than ready to answer the call should Kevin Feige's Marvel Studios need him to write Mahershala Ali's long-delayed Blade movie. Goyer, as you know, is no stranger to the franchise, as I stated, because he wrote all the previous movies. And we already know there was drama that happened on Blade Trinity, so I always give that movie the benefit of the doubt. But for the most part, if you wrote three of the scripts and two out of the three was good, then I think that trumps anything else. So I'm not gonna hold you too bad on the third one. Because at least you gave us two out of the three scripts that was good. So he said, if asked if he would come back to write the script, he said, "I would. I've always loved the character, and I love him." This is what he said when asked if he would write Marvel's Blade reboot for the MCU. He said, "Quote: I've been sitting on the sidelines wondering what in the world is going on. Why is it taking so long? Because I'm a huge Marvel fan myself, and I've just been totally puzzled." He also wrote Man of Steel, and he also wrote The Dark Knight. So Dave Goyer knows what he's doing. He's a good writer. He's written a lot of really cool things, and so I would love to see him take this on. Now, Marvel originally announced his Blade movie with Ali in July of 2019, but development has been rocky as several writers and directors have come and gone over the years. Bassam Tariq was the first director to join the movie, but he exited in September 2022, roughly 2 months before it was set to begin shooting. Several screenwriters have also been announced through the years, from Watchmen scribe Stacey O.C. Kofor to Michael Starbury, and also y'all remember that Bo DeMeo even wrote a draft. Jan Demange, who was behind Lovecraft Country, was another director who exited the franchise, and that was back in June. So, and then they went on to say that Kevin Feige told Black Tree TV last summer during the press tour of Deadpool and Wolverine that not rushing the Blade movie has been a big priority for the studio, saying, "I mean, for the last 2 years, we've been trying to crack that movie. The most important thing for us is not rushing it and making sure we're making the right Blade movie." Well, that's good and all, but you do know that Mahershala Ali is not getting any younger. The man is already half a century old. He's in his 50s. And yes, while Black may not crack and may he look youthful on the outside, remember, them insides is a whole nother situation. And I understand, like, when it comes to stunt work and it comes to all this stuff, you could fake a whole lot and get a bunch of stunt people to come in and handle a lot of the heavier lifting if you're not going to be able to do all the crazy stunts that is required in the movie. Because trust and believe, Wesley Snipes had a stunt double too. I know a lot of y'all probably think he did everything himself, but trust and believe, he had a stunt double as well. He had somebody going in doing the craziest stuff. But for the most part, he was doing majority of the fights and all that other stuff. So he's not getting any younger. Number two, why announce something 6 years ago if y'all didn't have it together? Like, y'all should at least have some kind of idea, some kind of outline. But I just feel like y'all were doing kind of like what DCU is doing right now. We're just going to come up with a plan and talk about 10 movies. We don't have any idea of what the scripts are going to be about, or if somebody's going to be able to crack the code or come up with a draft that we all agree on. But let's just come up with a list so we can get everybody excited. And then years later, you're like, okay, so what's going on with those movies? Same thing I've been saying about, DCU. What's going on with The Brave and the Bold? What's going on with all the other movies that y'all mentioned? I just saw the trailer for Peacemaker season 2 earlier, so we know that's coming. And the Batman 2, we're going to talk about that later on. But there were so many things that Booster Gold, what's going on with that? I was trying to remember the damn name of that movie. So what's going on with Booster Gold? I'm hearing that y'all reworking the scripts on a bunch of other things. So don't announce things if y'all don't have stuff at the ready. So I'm hoping that y'all can figure it out what's going on. I definitely would love to see Blade back on the big screen. I definitely would love to see Dave Goyer at least, like, even if they don't, I would even ask, oh, or is it a payment thing that has to go on with that? Excuse me. We would literally write a spec script, even if they didn't ask me. I would just, if I got time or whatever, I would just work on a draft or whatever, and I would just have my agent kind of like throw a little something out in the street, see if they, MCU catches it, and go in and pitch. Even if they didn't ask me, I'm just like, okay, I wrote something. Y'all can look at it. If you're here for it, okay. If you're not, you're or whatever. But I don't know. There may be some things that you got to go through in order for that to happen, or maybe it is time and money and all that other stuff for me to sit down and actually write a draft of something. But that's what I would have did. So yeah, so that's the latest on Blade and uh X-Men. So I want to hear from you all. What do you guys think of this story? Would you like to see Dave Goyer come and give his opinion on a Blade script, like write a new Blade script, since they can't understand how to crack the code, or at least come on board and give them some ideas on what they can do? Because I don't understand, what is taking Blade so long? There's so many comics with him that they could figure out what the hell's going on with that. And then do you like the idea that the director of Thunderbolts is allegedly on board to direct the upcoming X-Men reboot, which I'm sure that they're going to start filming that soon. That's got to be in like 2026, so that way we can have that in like 2027 or 2028. So they've got to figure out because I'm sure that that's what they're working on right now. We're talking about X-Men. If X-Men is going to be put in Doomsday, if it is Doomsday, then yeah, y'all need to start locking in actors. Y'all need to start looking at people. You need to start doing chemistry tests. Y'all have to have a script ready, and y'all got to be ready to shoot next year. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. So that is something we're going to say every day. I don't think Hollywood realizes that not everybody wants to see the movie first weekend, the crowds and such. Yeah, that's why I agree with that. That's why I was so upset that they revealed that twist. It's like, and I felt like they got in panic mode, that it was just, oh, well, we don't know if the numbers aren't where we want it to be at this point. But you have to realize that fans are skeptical right now because they've been burned so many times by so many MCU movies. So people really didn't know whether or not Thunderbolts was going to be good. But then when people started hearing the word of mouth and all this other stuff, now I'm sure the numbers are going to go up and people are going to go see it. Because this weekend, I don't think anything really good, interesting is out. I mean, next week, they got something to worry about because Final Destination, Bloodlines comes out, and I'm going to see that. But for the most part, it's like I don't think there's anything really interesting out this weekend. So this is an opportunity for Thunderbolts to really make some money. And because today is what, the 9th. Let me see what's out right now. Movies released on May 9th, not 2024, this year. What they said, they got Juliet and Romeo, Clown in a Cornfield, Wick is Pain, Nona, Shadow Force, Friendship, Fight or Flight. So I think those are the movies and stuff that's coming out. Clown in a Cornfield, I definitely want to see that. Wick is Pain, I believe that you can get that on Prime Video. That's right, and that's a documentary on the John Wick movies, which I definitely want to see that. And yeah, so they have, as I said, Juliet and Romeo, which of course is Romeo and Juliet. Clown in the Cornfield, I want to see that. Wick is Pain. Nona, I don't know what that. Well, that's the new Vince Vaughn and Drea De Matteo movie. I don't care about that. Shadow Force, that's that horrible looking action movie with Kerry Washington. Friendship, don't care about that. And what is it? Sharp Corner, Summer 69, Watson Scott. Yeah, like I said, there's really nothing out this week. So that would have been an opportunity for the movies for Thunderbolts to really bring us some money the second weekend, which I think it would have. But like I said, MCU got in panic mode after doing a phenomenal job with the marketing of this movie, where I didn't even know much of anything that was going on or any. So I went in completely blind. I knew based off of the trailers and stuff what I was going to expect and then hearing reviews that was going to be all about mental health, and a lot of the pundits did a great job of like not doing spoilers, so I like that. But Then I'm like, I'm glad I went and saw them because I would have been so upset if I didn't go this weekend, and then they would have been, oh, it's the new Avengers. I'd have been real upset over that. Most are just waiting for critical hype to die down. Marvel paid critics for great reviews. Yeah, because one of the guys that does like the what's that the gay podcaster, he goes, "Welcome to my safe Gavin." I forgot his name, but he got actually clipped in a Thunderbolts review. But you know, I'll be honest, if I don't like something, my Blade fan cast is Michael B. Jordan. Well, I have also said that I would love to see Michael B. Jordan as Blade. However, I do wonder if people won't really go along with that because he was just in uh Sinners. I almost forgot the name of that damn movie. But then again, that's a different type of vampire. First of all, they took too damn long to get to the vampires in Sinners. But if they were to pick him to be Blade, I wouldn't be mad. Why not? They could put him in it. Then I've been like Ryan Coogler can come and direct it. But you know, he got to do Black Panther 3. But I definitely would love to see Michael B. Jordan as Blade. That would have been perfect to have him come in as that. Funny. Look, I'm not surprised that Suits LA was canceled. Number one, I've heard that it's not good. Number two, I heard that Stephen Amell is horribly miscast. And then they, you know, try to do the whole fan service by trying to bring people from the past Suits in. So I kind of knew that I'm not surprised Suits LA was canceled. There was another show. Excuse me. That's why I hate drinking soda because it makes me burp. um, but I be needing that fizz, honey. Oh, The Irrational. They just canceled that over at NBC. You know, everybody gonna look at it as, oh, y'all just getting rid of all the people of color shows. Everything get canceled left and right. Then I'm mad because I just heard they killed all, and I didn't even watch the damn episode. I watched 911. They done killed old Peter Krauser. I'm like, God damn. Well, as long as I ain't killing my girl Angela Bassett, you know, y'all can do whatever the hell y'all want to do over there. Anyway, let's move on, y'all. And let's get into some Scream 8 news. So, I was over on the social medias, and it's funny because Robert sitting here sat and sent me some Scream 8 news. And you want to know something? At the time that he sent it to me, I was in the middle of writing this article, which I thought is quite hilarious. That I'm like, well, if the universe just works out in in strange ways. But yeah, I was in the middle of writing this article when he started filling me in on when he started sending me some Scream 8 stuff. So we are 9 months away from the highly anticipated Scream 7 slicing and dicing its way into theaters, and rumors are swirling that there is an eighth installment already in the works that will be centered yet again around franchise final girl Sidney Prescott. Now, before Scream 7 even wrapped, there were rumors circulating that the upcoming horror film would end on a cliffhanger and would be setting up a possible trilogy, a la Halloween 2018, and then of course The Strangers, which they have that one, but The Strangers, did not get kickoff at a great start. Like I know a lot of people did not like the first Strangers reboot movie, whatever the hell you want to call it. They just thought like the characters making dumb decisions. It was just not a good movie. And then people are still, I guess, what's going on with the second one? We saw that little trailer, whatever. It was cute, but it still did not get me all excited about the Strangers franchise. So I think they put the cart before the horse in regards to that. Halloween 2018 started off great. Halloween 2018, then we had Halloween Kills, and then y'all, I don't know what the hell that was with Halloween Ends, but as I've said many a times, I enjoy Halloween Ends as a separate Halloween film, not as part of the trilogy, because it just felt like it was just shoehorned in. It just didn't fit with whatever David Gordon Green was going with, or I think maybe he ran out of ideas before he got to Ends, but then he already signed on the dotted line that I need to come up with a trilogy, so he just fed us a bill of goods. So now, according to industry scooper Daniel RPK, who we reference a lot on this show, Scream 8 has immediately greenlit a new film, or I should say Scream 8 was immediately greenlit, because Paramount and Spyglass are happy with everything regarding the seventh installment. There's also word that not only do they want Kevin Williamson back to direct, but they also want him to write the script. Now, if all goes to plan, Scream 8 could start shooting this summer. For those of you who are also unaware, Williamson wrote the original Scream script as well as Scream 2 and Scream 4, while Scream 7 was written by Guy Busick from a story by James Vanderbilt and Busick. I'm sure Kevin had some uncredited input on the new script because, to be honest, I thought while Scream 5 and 6 did have some cool standout moments, the script for those films, which were written by Vanderbilt and Busick, weren't strong enough for my horror connoisseur tastes. So, excuse me, I also didn't like the way the legacy characters such as Sidney, Dewey, and Gale were treated once Radio Silence took over the franchise, because I just felt, that they just tossed the icons to the side to make room for their new characters, including the core four. Now, speaking of the core four, rumors are also swirling that the core four story will be addressed, kind of like how they addressed Sidney in, what was it, Scream 7? Or it was like, oh, she finally got a happy ending? Well, it looked like, based off of these rumors, that it will be Sidney focused or Sidney centered. Her happy ending will be short lived. But they basically said that this Carpenter, allegedly, the rumor is that the Carpenter sisters will be killed off in a plane crash and that the Meeks Martin twins will be brutally killed off, which I'm hoping is not true, because as many times as Chad been stabbed up, y'all really gonna try to inhibit it? But then again, they did the same damn thing to Dewey. So, and the rumor is that this is a way for them to be like, oh yeah, for y'all going off and killing off Dewey after all those years of plot armor, you go and kill a beloved character. So now we got to go and start cleaning house with these other actors, which I'm hoping is not true, because the rumor is that Chad works for Gale. I don't know if Mindy works for Gale as well, but if they're gonna go, I don't think that they should kill them off, because they're not tied to what the world that Kevin Williamson created and the other Scream, legacy characters. They're, at this point, they are legacy characters, because this is the third film that they're appearing in that's part of the Scream franchise. So I hope they don't kill them all, because as they are family. They're part of Randy's, family. They're his niece and nephew. So I really hope that they're not going to go in and kill them off. You can kill off these other characters, or have them have a really cool chase scene and them get hemmed up a little bit or whatever. But to kill them off after all this time, I don't like that. But then again, like people say, y'all did the same thing to Dewey after all them years of plot armor, so why not, right? Turnabout's a fair game. So, so once they get the course correction out of the way, the films will be focusing on Sidney and her family, because I'm sure they've got to address a lot of the stuff that was going on regarding. I don't think they're going to address the Melissa Barrera Gaza stuff. They don't need to address that, but you do have to address their characters. What's happening with them? Why is it that, okay, we got the Meeks Martin twins to show up in this film, but you couldn't get the Carpenter sisters to show up in this film? So there has to be, and you have to address it, similar to how they had to address Sidney not being in Scream 6. So while I'm happy that we're getting an eighth film, I don't know if I like the idea of them shooting the next film so early, because the rumor is they're going to be shooting it this summer, as I stated earlier. Because, and we also have no idea who survives and who dies in the seventh film. So, another thing I've always said too is that I love the Scream films because it's a slasher equivalent of Scooby-Doo. So I love the idea of me going in completely blind, not knowing. I mean, we know what the plot is or whatever the case is, that's fine. We see a couple of cool shots of people getting chased around and Ghostface being brutal, whatever the case is, that's cool. But I don't want to know too much, which is why I always go opening weekend, so that way I can just go in and put on my Agatha Christie glasses. my sleuth gets the sleuthing, and I can basically go in and try to figure out who the keeper or ers is without it being spoiled on social media. So that's what I love about the Scream franchise. So what I'm hoping is that if this rumor turns out to be true, that Scream 8 is shooting this summer, they're going to have it shooting back to back. Because remember, they wrapped it in February, I think. They wrapped it around, I think about February, March-ish. So they wrapped it. I will go with February. So I believe, so they wrapped a couple months ago. It is. I'm sure it's not going to take long for them to edit a horror film, because I don't think it's going to be like 2 hours. Or, well, actually, Scream movies usually do clock in around the 2 hour mark. So I could definitely see it being that long. But with them doing all the post-production, all the stuff, I really feel like they could move the movie, and I've said this before, they should move the movie to October of this year, and then when they film Scream 7, I mean Scream 8, they can film Scream 8 this summer, they can release Scream 8 next year, and it'll coincide with the 30th anniversary of the original movie, because the original Scream came out in 1996. So next year would mark the 30th anniversary. You can have both those movies come out so close together, back to back. And I don't even think y'all have to release it in the February mark. You can move it like maybe March or April or something like that, or maybe a year. So it's like you have it a year apart. So you have that next film come out October of 2026. So that way you give people enough time to see it in the theater. Then you can do the VOD and all that other stuff. So I'm hoping that's the direction they go into. I also know that people love complaining about Nev appearing in most of the films, that, it's time to branch out and tell the stories. How many times they're going to, beat the dead horse of Sidney Prescott to death? Like, how are you going to keep doing that over and over? And so I'm like, as long as there's a story there, as long as you have a story to tell, I'm here for it. If there's a way that you can incorporate Sidney and those friends in the story, why not? I mean, I think over the years we're so used to slasher films having a new final girl and that sort of thing, and that's cool when they did it with Friday the 13th and so many other franchises. But if this is a story that, a franchise that's always kind of in a way been centered around Sidney Prescott and her life, because the comic does, it's like a life imitating art, imitating life type of franchise. It's not like any other slasher movie franchise. So I hate that people kind of continue to compare it to that, to other movies. But Scream is it's an anomaly in so many different ways. You have new killers every movie, which I know some people don't like that. But it's like, after a while, who wants to keep seeing? Well, I was gonna say, who wants to keep seeing Jason? But if you're a Friday the 13th fan, you do want to keep seeing Jason on the big screen hacking people to death, or Michael Myers and that sort of thing. So I take that back, because I am one of those fans that it's like, I love my Michael Myers and I love my Jason. I like seeing them cutting people, the Carnage Candy and all that other stuff. So, but Scream is, as I said, it's an anomaly. It's something different. And if there's a story to tell with Sidney, then I'm here for it. So I don't feel no ways tired about it. I'm hoping that these rumors about this is true, except for I don't want them to kill off the Meeks Martin kids. But I am here for what's to come. And also, in case y'all were wondering, if y'all need a movie to watch, especially with Mason Goody, just want to let y'all know, Heart Eyes is available on Netflix. So if you got Netflix, you could definitely watch that movie if you haven't seen it already. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this news surrounding the rumors regarding Scream 8, that according to Daniel RPK, it's going to be another Sidney-centered story. So this film, the 7th one, is supposed to be centered around Sidney, and Scream 8 is also supposed to be centered around Sidney, because the rumors is it's supposed to be a part of a trilogy. So, well, let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. You said, yeah, Stephen Amell is an action star. Funny enough, speaking of action stars, shout out to Alan Ritchson, because I heard that he had to fire his manager. And it was a movie that he was working on, I believe, in Australia. The manager did some inappropriate stuff to people, berating them, yelling, all that other stuff. They actually kicked him off the movie. Stephen fired him. Stephen, because I'm thinking of Stephen Amell. Alan fired him as his manager, so now he's got to get a new one. And they said this guy was on Survivor. I didn't even know that. Well, they said that he got kicked off before the season even aired. So it was like it was inappropriate conduct. So he was able to get away with it then. They were able to cover that up. But this became so bad that it was like, oh no, he got to go. So that's a mess. But I do agree that he is an action star. He was good on Arrow. She met him too. I met him during a screening of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because remember, he played Casey Jones. So I actually met him. He and I are like the same height. It's like 5'9", 5'10". And then Mark, good looking in person. It's been a long time since we had it. I agree. And that's another thing too people need to realize. It's been a long time since we had a Sidney centered story. I think Scream was a Sidney centered story. Scream 2 was Sidney centered. Scream 3, not so much. She was kind of like in hiding. And then Scream 4, she wasn't really that centered either. She just came and visited the family. She was doing the book tour, that sort of thing. Scream 5, she was kind of tossed by the wayside and only came back in the third act because they killed Dewey off. Scream 6, she didn't show up because the money situation. And now Scream 7, I feel like, yeah, let's center it around her again. I mean, she's got a family. She's a mother. People out here are crazier than ever. Fanaticism is a big thing, especially when you watch like what they call those, like those type of podcasts where they talk about serial killers and things of that nature, or people who are part of, like, you see all these ID channel type breakdowns and all these little documentaries that they're making. So I'm like, this is a perfect way to cover it. So there's so many, especially when it seems like a lot of people are obsessed with fame, infamy, serial killers. Well, I think serial killers would never go out of style. He was in a homosexual cheesy soap, Dante's Cove, but like, wait, who was? Stephen Amell was in Dante's Cove? Why do I not remember that? And I watched that show. But like, queer as folk, we weren't for the story. Well, yeah, that was, yeah, first of all, who watched Dante's Cove for the acting? The acting was atrocious. The writing was bad. The special effects was cheesy, but we was here for the shenanigans. That's the only reason why I watched that show. That one, and there was another. Damn, what was the other show that they had? And I remember that song, Dying to Be With You. That was my shit, too, back in the day. I just loved everything about that cheesy-ass show. There was another show they did, too. That was intense. But yeah, Dante's Cove, that was, look, that and Passions, you couldn't tell me nothing. You said he was getting fake topped. Mm-hmm. Rebel Wilson, she untypecasted herself because she was known for playing the big girl. And when she lost all that weight, now because people always, and that goes to show that, you know what, Hollywood, y'all so damn ignorant. Because y'all basically saying that fat people can't be serious, that they're like the laughing stock, they're the comedy relief. So, but I did see the article. Like, Chris told the actors went into the closet, but I'm supposed to believe Gail Harrell is free. Well, he's still acting. I forgot what he was recently in, but um, did they go back in the closet? I know they was trying to get a lot of people not to be in there. But could you imagine? Because I remember at one point there was a story that went around that Billy Porter was, excuse me, originally he went up for one of the roles. I would have loved to have seen that. They should have, first of all, they should have mixed that cast up back in the day. Because if you're doing like Pittsburgh or whatever, it's like, yeah, you could have mixed it up. You could have had some black folks up in there. I never believed he was. But I don't think Gail Harrell is a heterosexual. The guy who played Ted was supposedly straight too. Oh, I love me some Robert Gant. Now you're gonna get me back into wanting to rewatch, do a Queer as Folk rewatch. I remember Gail Harrell was on Desperate Housewives, and now we're getting a Desperate Housewives reboot with what the hell is that girl name? Olivia Pope. Kerry Washington, she's producing it. I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for, not the infamous line from Scooby Doo. I'd say put Scream 8 out in like July, August. But that worked though. I don't know. Because I think the first Scream came out in like December, if I'm not mistaken. But July, August, I mean, I was saying something like, what, I Know What You Did Last Summer, but then I Know What You Did Last Summer, it is a summer film. So duh, it has to come out in the summer. But July, August, I don't know. I would think like fall, Halloween time. Scream 8 should be December because that's what. Oh, see, now he wrote. I knew I was right because I was like, I could have sworn the first one came out because I remember. I remember when Scream first came out, and then I remember I didn't know if I wanted to see it or not. And then this kid George came, and this little Puerto Rican boy with long hair, I used to have a big crush on. He came and was like, uh, talking all about Scream, talking about how much he loved it. It was a great movie, and I was like, oh, I need to see this film. I'm glad I did. Because everybody was talking about it. Gonna see Clown in the Cornfield tomorrow. Well, hopefully it's good. I want a gay Ghostface. I want to hear yes coming out. Can you imagine? No, you'll probably get that in Scary Movie. Because remember, we're supposed to be getting a sequel to that. Imagine a drag queen being Ghostface. They can put that in, look, all these ideas should be in Scary Movie, because if y'all gonna do drag queens or other stuff, do it for comedy relief. And it should be in Scary Movie. I wonder if Steve still keeps up with Scream 8T. Who's Steve? Why am I drawing a blank? Only thing I'm thinking about is Stephen Orff, who was gutted in the first Scream. That was Casey Becker boyfriend. The football job. He's big and he's strong and he'll kick the shit out of you. Remember when she said that? All right. Oh, you said George. That's a good question. Anyway, all right, y'all. Now let's get to our final movie topic before we get on to the gossip, and let's talk about the Batman 2, because there's been so many conflicting reports about what's going on with the Batman 2. The reason why I'm bringing this story up is because I love the first Batman movie, and I love Robert Pattinson as Pattinson. And I feel like y'all taking like Blade, y'all taking forever and a damn year to make this freaking movie. So the good news, because I got good news and I got bad news, if you believe the stories that's coming out. Now, the Batman Part 2 is aiming for a March 2026 shoot in London. The bad news is that Matt Reeves allegedly is no longer attached as the director. He's only now being credited as a screenwriter. So I do have the chart thingy from Jeff Snyder, by the way. So yeah, there's the post that he posted on a thing, and then it's from it says Pinewood Group, and then basically has like the location when they're going to start filming, all the producers and all that good stuff, and then they don't have anybody who's listed as a director. But he says a little weird that the latest issue of Production Weekly doesn't include a director for the Batman Part 2. So that's what's going on. But I'm wondering, why would they even post that? Like, I don't get, why would y'all post that knowing full and well that people like Jeff Snyder or people like us will be talking about it? And there's already rumors going around that Matt Reeves may not come back because there's something going on in his personal life. I don't know if he's clashing with Warner Brothers, or if there's like he's ill, or somebody in his family's ill and it's prolonging the directing and stuff. Because remember, we've had Zack Snyder do this before. They remember that when his kid unalived themselves, he had to take some time off and that sort of thing. So Jeff did address this on last night's episode of The Hot Mic, which I did watch, and he clarified that he doesn't know whether Reeves is still on board or not. He basically said that he wouldn't be surprised if the next time we see The Dark Knight on the big screen is in the DCU. He speculates that James Gunn might be working on a new Superman Batman movie. And here's the thing. Can we not with another Superman Batman movie? Because y'all, in my opinion, I didn't like how y'all went from Man of Steel, and then you brought in Batfleck, and then you didn't even give Ben Affleck his own solo film. You literally just did a whole Batman, Superman, Dawn of Justice, and then you bring in Wonder Woman and all these other people. So it's like you're trying to rush the Justice League, but you didn't give these people an opportunity to have their solo moment. You gave Gal Gadot her own damn movie. You gave Henry Cavill his one movie. But then you decide to combine them all in something, and and I will say this: it was cool that they were able to spin off that being the way to introduce Wonder Woman into the universe is through that film, through Batman v Superman. I like the idea of that, and I like Batman v Superman, the extended version, and I like Man of Steel. It's a little too serious, I know, for some people, but I like those films. However, I felt like y'all should have gave Ben Affleck a chance to make his own little movie too. And y'all didn't afford the opportunity. So I really feel like, can we get these characters? Can we get to know these characters? Can they have their moment before we're so quick to run off and throwing them in a movie together? Because this will be the second time y'all do that. So I'm hoping that situation isn't true, what Jeff Snyder is saying. Now, in a recent interview, so they did say that the movie was hit with another delay and will not arrive until October 1st, 2027. And the movie, I think the first one came out in 2023. So that's 4 years since it was in theaters that we haven't gotten a film, and that's too long, in my opinion. So DC Studios co-head James Gunn claimed that the almost year-long setback was simply down to the fact that the script hasn't been finished, but it sounds like the filmmaker has now, at the very least, cracked the overall story. Now, in a recent interview, star Robert Pattinson, aka Battinson, revealed that he doesn't know what the Batman sequel. He does know, sorry, what the Batman sequel will be about, while also addressing the news that the movie has been pushed to 2027, saying Matt is a very careful writer, meaning y'all know what that means, because British people, y'all be cracking me up. It's like y'all throw the shade within and within what y'all be saying, and it takes you a minute to catch the shade that they be throwing. A careful writer mean like he taking too damn long to get this damn script going. That's basically what he's saying. But he said, but I finally now know what it's about. It's very cool and I'm very excited. Well, I'm hoping that it's about the Court of Owls because I don't want another damn Joker movie. I don't want the same usual suspects that y'all always pick whenever it comes to the Batman universe. I would really love to see, since you grounded this franchise so much, and I love the overall dark, grounded tone that they've taken with this, which is similar to what Christopher Nolan was doing. But I felt like that Matt Reeves really took it a step further. And I, of course, love Penguin. It's a great show. But since you're grounded in this world of reality, I feel like these superheroes need to be reality based versus when you have uh James Gunn's superhero world is more extraordinary. Whereas in this world, with Matt Reeves, they're more ordinary and it's more grounded and they feel like they could be a part of our everyday lives. So if they do a Court of Owls thing, I think that'll be really cool. And I actually hope that's the direction they're going in. But now he's also refuted the Pattinson rumors regarding during the recent DCU slate update, although it might be telling that the Superman director would outright state that the Mickey 17 actor would not play Batman in The Brave and the Bold, simply noting that it was very unlikely. And I feel like if you're going to do a Batman, if you're going to do your own different Batman in a different world, pick somebody else. I already said I would love to see oh my god, who's the guy that's in, I think it's Daniel Sklenar. I would like to see him as Batman. Or I don't know. That's my top choice. So, with all this being said, I hope that Matt works out whatever's going on in his personal life or whatever the case is. But this whole taking your sweet time to get this script together, y'all should have had an outline back when y'all finished the first movie. Had some kind of idea where y'all was going. I know things take time. I know we have the writer's strike. I know we have all these other things, but it should not take you years to figure out what the hell direction you want to go with your movie, especially when you have someone like Robert Pattinson locked down to be your Batman. So I just hope whoever, if this turns out to be true, that he is not going to come back as director also. I do also hope that whoever they get as his replacement follows the finished script and the overall tone of the first film, because that's what we love about the movie. So I know that, I know it'd be hard for a hired hand to come in and basically just do whatever's on the page and can't come with their own ideas or whatever the case is. Excuse me. So I'm actually gonna still, because I'm in denial, slate this as strictly rumor. I do feel like, you know what, they'll wait for Matt Reeves to get it together and come back. I just hope that it all works out and that he will be ready to go to start filming. And that's why I don't understand why Production Weekly would even release that, because now you're just causing drama and a lot of speculation. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Do you believe that Matt Reeves will be coming back to the Batman 2? Do you feel like this is just strictly rumor? I'm going to place it as strictly rumor because I want Matt Reeves to come back. I enjoyed his Batman movie, and I love Robert Pattinson as Batman. Then it's funny how like a lot of people didn't even really believe in Robert Pattinson as Batman. But look, many a times y'all haven't seen a casting and y'all weren't here for it. Y'all didn't even like Michael Keaton as Batman before y'all seen him on the big screen. Now everybody loves Michael Keaton. Same thing with Heath Ledger. Nobody saw him as the Joker. People was like, nah, the kid from 10 Things I Hate About You? What? Y'all picked him? Then y'all seen the movie, and now y'all feel like nobody can upstage or even beat his role as the penguin, as the Joker in that film. And same thing with Colin Farrell. Y'all couldn't see him as the Penguin, then y'all seen him in that damn movie and the TV show, and y'all all gagging. So that's what's like, y'all gotta trust in these casting people to know what the hell they're doing. So I'm here for it. I want to hear from y'all. So let me know what your thoughts are in the story in the comments down below. They're bringing up trucks with actual logs driving on the highways and freeways and main city roads. Nope. I don't think so. So now y'all sitting out here playing in my face with the damn the logs, and then I just saw like y'all seen the poster that the billboard that's going around about the men that are working on the billboard and one is like splatted on the billboard. It's like, no, I understand the marketing and it's cool and everything, but no, I do not play when it comes to the logs and driving behind the log. And it's funny because it's like Final Destination has been that one franchise that literally, it's like how people were back in the day when it comes to urban legends. It's the same thing with this. Was the same thing with Final Destination, which I think is getting great reviews. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that movie. Court of Owls, yes, I want Batman come face to face with Bruce Wayne's circle of millionaire friends and realize he's part of the same problem. And I think that is something that they should address, especially in this current administration. Where it's like, yeah, you thinking you making a difference, but it's like, no, you were just about as part of the problem as they are. Introduced Midnighter in this one. Can you imagine? If they did that, I don't think it'll happen though. All right, y'all. So let's talk about the Diddler because his defense team is a cackle. So yeah, they're leaning in hard that the music mogul was abusive towards his ex Cassie Ventura. But now they're trying to say, well, he may have been abusive, but she was just as abusive as he was. Which I'm looking at it as y'all tried it because then y'all can say the same thing about Ike and Tina. I was putting paws all over Tina, and Tina was fighting back. So it was her fault. So it looked like y'all trying to victim blame, and I don't like that. So the Diddy trial kicked off this week, and his relationship with Cassie continues to be one of the most contentious parts of the whole process. Her allegations kicked the scandal off, and now the defense argues the story is not exactly what it seems. Now, per TMZ, prosecutor Emily Ann Johnson and defense attorney Mark Agnafilo had a discussion on day 4 of the trial in a New York City federal courtroom with Judge Aaron Subramanian. They discussed Sean Combs and his bond with Cassie Ventura. The bad boy mogul's defense claims that she was also abusive in their relationship. The debate began when prosecutor Johnson stated that victim number 1, presumably the singer, will not face cross-examination on particular medical problems. Now, they said George Submaranian reportedly said the defense can eventually cross-examine if the prosecution removes this limitation. Now, in a response, Mark Agnafilo revealed the defense team is going to take the position there was mutual violence in their relationship, hitting on both sides, DV. He added, we are absolutely going to admit to DV, but at what point does it become coercive? Well, a lot of people are going to say that he's a man, she's a woman, so therefore, I mean, we all know that, and I've said this many times now, if a woman put a hand on you, I'm not all for hitting a woman. However, if you're going to initiate the violence, I'm knocking your ass out. It's no shade. Turnabout's a fair game. But if you're going around trying to abuse and use your power over a woman because you have money, you were controlling this girl, you were a man of a certain age, you were pushing 40 when you met her, and that was like what? She was in, I think, her late teens, early 20s when she got with you. So the manipulation, the abuse of power, the fact that you went after her when she was already in a relationship with Ryan Leslie, and this overall control, holding her record deal over her head if she didn't submit to doing certain things to her. And I'm hoping that the other side brings this up. The power dynamic between the two. And how, yeah, at certain points, she probably was like, I'm tired of this ninja putting his goddamn hands on me. So I'm going to fight back. Even if I get my behind beat, even if I wind up with broken bones and a black eye, I'm going to fight you. Even if I don't win. And I'm sure she did that because at some point, nobody just sits there and is going to continue to take punch at the punch at the punch at the punch. And we've heard people who have mentioned that, yeah, they were getting us, they would get the tussling. And how she would fight him back when he was putting paws on her. So if this is the defense y'all going on, like I really feel like his legal team, I just feel like this time is different. Like I just don't think that Diddy is gonna win this trial. So y'all can sit and pinpoint and come up with all kinds of little stunts and shows that y'all want to come up with, but I don't see it working. And yeah, so as you can see right there, Cassie is currently pregnant with, I believe, her 3rd child. So now then the judge reportedly asked Agnafilo if he means Diddy and Cassie relationship was outright violent. And then he says, quote, right, we're saying it's relevant, the defense attorney reportedly replied. Now, on the other hand, Prosecutor Johnson announced she would submit a letter to the court about this matter, saying that this is because of her plans to present 2 cell phone videos and corrected footage of the 2016 hotel assault, which shocked the world a year ago. Since this scandal blew up, Puffy's net worth, is reportedly sank from he was a billionaire. Now he's making like he's worth 400 million. He lost $500 million. Well, a little under, because 400 million makes it under. But I'm like, damn, where all that money go? Is it from all your business endeavors, or the fact that all your legal fees? Like, damn, they cleaning him out. I wonder who got more money, him or Kanye? Because remember, once upon a time, Kanye was a billionaire too. Not so much anymore. Now, speaking of which, Diddy's team wants to exclude the Cassie footage from the trial, while they failed in excluding all other alleged evidence from the procedure. It's unclear if the CNN video is still on the table. Given Johnson's comments, it seems like prosecutors are still counting on its introduction and discussion. Elsewhere in this legal whirlwind, Diddy's alleged victims are supposedly reconsidering their testimony. However, other aspects of the trial tipped more in favor of the prosecution's proposals. So there's no big wins or losses so far, just complex and difficult decisions and debates. And I do feel like this is a complex situation, although a lot of people will, I feel like, use the fact that he's older. He's a man, so your gender is definitely going to play a factor in this whole situation. And the power dynamic, the fact that here's this mogul dating his artist, and the amount of control that he had over her and her endeavors over the decades, and the alleged threats that he put towards other celebrities who dared even get in relationships with her at the time that allegedly maybe they were broken up. Hence, Michael B. Jordan and Kid Cudi, the stories we heard about them. So, Diddler, I don't know. Your legal team, I see they trying to pull every stunt show, every kind of whatever they can come up with, but I don't see you winning this shit. So I say all this to say, damn, it's like I'm just tongue tied this whole damn thing. What do you guys think of this story in regards of Diddy's defense basically saying that it took 2 to tango, that they both wasn't so innocent when it came to their relationship, that he was putting paws on her and vice versa? I'm not buying it. I do feel like that it would have been a mutual relationship if Diddy wasn't so damn controlling and abusive, but that's the only way he knows how to deal with his emotions, apparently. And so that's the defense they're going with. I'm side-eyeing it because it sounds ridiculous, but here we are. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. All right, now in other Diddler news, apparently there was some guy that pow-powed at one of Trump's golf clubs. I think it was his National Doral Golf Club in 2018. So he opened Pow Pow over there, in case y'all don't remember. Now he's claiming, and I've heard, we talked about this before, and now it's still making the circular, it's circling around again. He said that he was Diddy's sex slave and basically signed a $5 million non-disclosure agreement. So Jonathan Audie was arrested in 2018 after he was reportedly caught on camera carrying a U.S. flag and ranting about the president as he stormed onto the lobby of the Trump National Doral Golf Club before getting into a shootout with cops. Now, following his arrest, Audie made a series of claims to police, including that he had been kept as a sex slave by Combs' previously released video from the interview shows, saying, I had relations with Cassie and Sean. Basically, he would pleasure himself and tell me what to do to Cassie. I was like a sex slave. To them, that's what I was. This is what he said. Now, funny enough, this picture, he looked crazy, but here he looked like somebody I know. Now, a picture of an NDA allegedly signed by Audie and Combs in Miami in 2014 emerged on Wednesday, seemingly backing up the former porn star's ties with the rapper, who is facing trial for alleged SA and trafficking. Now, Audie says that he agreed to the NDA in exchange for $5 million, and it was signed around the time he divorced his wife, attorney Tanya Troutwine. He was married to an attorney. Okay. She told the Daily Mail, which first published the document. The date of that contract was around the same time as our divorce. I almost feel like he divorced me because he came into all this money so I wouldn't claim it. This is what Toutwine said. But our lives were already going in different paths. I started feeling like a third wheel in someone else's life rather than a wife, she said. Now, Adi started to change after moving from his job as a scripper at bachelorette parties to becoming a porn star. This is according to Troutwine. Yeah, because he was liking all that attention. That's what it was. He met the diddler around this time at a party at the ultra-exclusive Star Island in Miami Beach, Troutwine believes. Well, everybody knows about Star Island, shit. Now, as Adi spent less time with his wife, she believes he started partying more with Combs and Ventura, saying, quote, Diddy just has those radiating personalities, and I can tell that he was really enjoying the attention, you know. He likes to be the king. Johnny would have played perfectly into that. Now, Troutwine decided to get out of the marriage after discovering Adi was having an affair with a fellow corn star, male or female, because inquiring minds want to know, sis. So she said they filed for divorce in August of 2014, but are still on good terms. Now saying, quote, he kept on insisting that we sign the divorce paperwork, which I thought was very odd how he wanted to get things done so quickly. It was only later that I found out he had signed this agreement. Now, Adi claimed that he was making just $2,000 a month as a fitness trainer and had a net worth of negative $1,800 in the divorce documents. Despite that, he went on a spending spree less than a month after the divorce was finalized, buying 5 distressed properties for So he had all that money to buy houses, but he had less than $2,000 in his account. So yeah, they said that he went on a spending spree less than a month after the divorce was finalized, buying 5 distressed properties for $765,000 in the space of 2 months. This is according to NBC Miami, citing Miami-Dade County property records. Now, all of the properties were purchased mortgage-free, suggesting they were bought with cash. That's what drug dealers do. But you know what? If I was getting $5 million from somebody, trust and believe, I'm buying my shit in cash too. I'm buying the house. I'm not getting multiple houses. What the hell I need all that for? I would give my one house so I can get away from all the mess, and I give me a cute little apartment. So Troutwine lost contact with Adi until she heard about his dramatic pow-powing with cops in May of 2018. So yeah, they said this would have also been around the same time he allegedly received the $5 million windfall from Diddy. So it's like, yeah, when he started buying up all them properties, she was like, that's when it all went down. Now, after carrying the American flag into the golf resort lobby, Adi began shouting about Trump before allegedly pow-powing at officers who pow-powed him in the legs before arresting him. This is according to investigators. Now, he faces charges of attempted red rum of law enforcement officers, armed burglary, and armed grand theft, and is still in a Florida jail awaiting trial. Now, Adi's apparent breakdown came just months before Cassie ended her relationship with Combs for good. This is according to Troutwine, saying, quote, I don't think that it's a coincidence. Or as Nene Leakes would say, a coincidence. So if any of this is true, that the diddler abused Cassie or was being aggressive, Johnny definitely would have softened that situation and would have tolerated the abuse instead. He would have tried to help the situation and not make Cassie feel about it. This is according to Troutwine. Now, she also said that she has spoken to her ex-husband since his arrest and says that he has heard his interrogation video with police had resurfaced in the wake of the damaging allegations against Combs. Ventura, as you know, accused the diddler of drugging, R-wording her, and beating her during their on-off relationship, spanning a decade, in her civil suit filed against Bad Boy Records mogul in November of 2023. Oh, I was saying one of like the billionaire thing. I was like, oh yeah, he did say that he was worth $1 billion. Now he's worth 400 million. I'm like, maybe some of that money went to Cassie. I don't know. We don't even know how much money it was. It's undisclosed. Okay, so the other picture I don't want to go over. It's an undisclosed amount, but nevertheless, it is what it is. So yeah, that's the latest. Adi basically said that he's scared that I will expose him. My attempt put me in a box. My settlement put me in a box. Basically, I couldn't talk because I was going to be sued. They kept following me. it isn't known who the they is that Adi is referring to. So it's like, yeah, you basically took the $5 million settlement, that you signed this NDA, so that way if you knew what was going on, abuse of that or anything of that nature, you could not speak. Otherwise, I guess he could take you to court. He could sue you back for that money or whatever the case is. Because whatever happens at the free course stays at the free course. And after the free course, Combs and his victims, typically, and his mother, typically received IV fluids to recover from the physical exertion and drug use. Yeah, because drugs do dry you out. It's kind of like when that scene in The Faculty where they be snorting that little drug that Zeke made, guaranteed to jack you up. And then after that, it's like, yeah, you gotta replenish your body with the fluids. Hence the IV. I mean, you know, uh Janice and them old $5 shake and go wigs that she get from Party City. She know a lot about them IV fluids because she was up in there allegedly laying alone and spreading the wire. Where you think Diddy learned it from? If you seen that documentary that he did, him and the cousin was talking about how Mama was having plenty old parties up at the house, and they would walk up in there and see all kinds of nudity and men on men and women on women and men on women, and it was a full on orgina up in there. So you already know about the cases started. I'll definitely be keeping you abreast of all of this. So the rapper did not immediately respond to requests to comment on the NDA report. So yeah, that's the latest. And child, that was juicy. So I want to hear from y'all. What do y'all think of this story in regards of Miss Mama's out here spilling all kinds of you know, Mr. Adi's wife is the Miss Mamas, but I was calling her ex Miss Mama too. So they out here spilling all kinds of tea about stuff that may have transpired. He's not really speaking much because of the NDA, but he was worried about that he was possibly going to. Diddy people was worried about being exposed, hence why he's saying that they was following him around and stuff while he was still accumulating that money because they wanted to make sure that their investment was going to maintain his silence. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. All right. He said, "Oh, a truly shameless defense, but it just might." Diddy looking for pity. Look, you a pony, it works. I haven't heard anything about Austin Wolf at all. Which is weird because every month we get an update, but apparently this month we haven't heard anything. I'm trying to scroll and see for where I usually get my Austin Wolf news if there's anything going on regarding him. I keep forgetting to bring up about Barry Diller, aka Diane von Furstenberg's husband, coming out as a homosexual. I forgot to bring that story up. And I started catching up on the foundation over on Apple TV. First of all, Lee Pace can get it. Because I was looking at him yesterday. I was like, okay, come on, body. Because I had to catch up because, they got the new season coming out in July. Yeah, I don't see anything regarding him. And I just found out two things. One, The Who and Lorde is performing at the Garden this year. The Who in August and Lorde picked the date. I think she's performing in October. Or Gina. $5 million. $5 million. Mm. Who do you think you are, Chelsea Clinton? Well, they said $4 million in that one. Could you imagine? Could you imagine if it was like, yeah, Austin Wolf dead? But if he was, then why nobody talking about it? I would have thought the media would have picked that up. But then again, they did just stop mentioning. Remember that gay hairdresser, whatever, that was picked up and deported to that prison out in El Salvador. We ain't heard from him. All right, y'all. So now let's move on to our next topic. Let's talk about Miss Jennifer, who is talking about the promise that she made to her children. Promise this, if I die before I wake up. That's my Cheryl Cole song. I do love that damn song. Y'all know that stupid song that she be. Anyway, let me get off Miss Cheryl. Cheryl Hole. I'm still mad she went and changed her name from Cheryl Hole to just Cheryl. But then Cheryl Cole did the same thing. But anyway, let's talk about Miss Jennifer. So she is opening about the really tough year that she had, when Ben Affleck who recently I just saw, and I was like, "Oh, you shady for that media." But then he is too. Like, read the room. How he was declaring his love for Latinas, and I think he was on some press thing or whatever the case is. And I'm like, "Sir, if you really love Latinas, you wouldn't have divorced Hannaford." But then again, some people say she's insufferable, she's difficult to deal with, and so that's why I was like, I can't with you again. I need to be by myself. You drive me to drink. You drive me up this wall. You drive me to rip my hair out the roots. And I just got the hair plugs years ago, so I can't be ripping my hair out when I had to get this hair done to cover up the bald spots. So the power couple's short-lived marriage, as you know, ended last year and came on the heels of J-Lo's film inspired by their romance, a documentary the singer financed herself and lost a lot of money on, that included her then spouse and the cancellation of her world tour, This Is Me Live. Now, in an interview with El País, or País, however you say it, Jennifer, who's 55 and going to be 56 in August, opened up about how she reassured Max and Emmy, the 17-year-old twin she shares with ex-husband Mark Anthony, at the height of the turmoil, saying, "I promise you, this is a difficult time, but you're going to see that I'll come out the other side stronger than yesterday." She said stronger and better. "I promised them that, and I did it, and they feel it now. That gives me a great sense of peace in my life." Now, Jennifer will be officially embarking on a summer tour up all night live in 2025, where she plans to celebrate following years of growth. Well, good for her. But she's only doing that overseas because I guess she realizes that nobody cares about her music or seeing her live in an arena setting in America in 2025. Although I do feel like Miss Mamas, you really haven't really invested in your music career, as I've been saying over the years, the way that others have, like Taylor Swift and Beyonce and Madonna and Kylie and so many other pop girls. You haven't really been consistent. You've been more consistent on your movie career than your music career, which is why I feel like in so many ways your music career suffers. Same thing with Katy Perry, who still hasn't gotten the memo that she needs to cancel this goddamn arena tour and resort back to either residencies or smaller venues. So yeah, y'all got to start over. You got to really allow me to introduce yourself. Your name is Jennifer. L to the Lopez. So you need to reintroduce yourself to the audience. But I feel like, a lot of y'all feel like y'all are legacy acts that you don't have to prove yourself because you've been around for a long time. But it's like, no, you have the next generation. Why should Gen Z and Gen Alpha and the ones that come after them, Alpha, what was it, Gen Beta? Once Gen Alpha gets to be of a certain age, why should they invest into your music? Why should they listen to what you're doing? Why should they support your tours? So yeah, you can go overseas because the Europeans, they do appreciate artists and music and everything more than we do. But in America, I don't know. I think she's got to really pound the pavement. Maybe she needs to take a page out of Kylie Minogue handbook. You got to pound the pavement. I say go back and do another residency. And when you've gotten in the good graces of the audience, then but then you might have to wait until after this current administration because Vegas is a little dry right now. Tourism is down. So people aren't trying to come to America, especially where they rounding people up and just sending them to freaking, you know, prisons in third world countries with no due process. So who the hell want to come take a risk to come to this country when everything this current president touches turns to shit? So now she says, quote, "I'm happier that I'm a step further along than I was a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I'm proud of myself for that. And I'm proud of that I was able to navigate my children through difficult times, that they're stronger and better because of it. So it's a great time to go out there and dance and sing, get up and do your thing, and have a good time with everybody," she said with a smile. Now, Jennifer's tour will kick off in July, and we'll see her perform in locations such as Egypt, Spain, Italy, and more. So yeah, there's well, I did ask one of my friends who lives out in Spain. I was like, "Are you actually gonna go see Miss Jennifer when she comes out on tour out there in Spain or whatever?" I forgot what he said, but I think he said, "Look, if the tickets is reasonable, whatever the case is, I think he might actually go." So, um, talking about the tour, she mentioned this because I want to make sure I didn't read the same thing twice. She said, "This is a perfect time." And I think the last perfect time was 6 years ago. She said the tour, intentionally leaving out the This Is Me live. I only want to go on tour when they're going to celebrate. We're gonna have a good time. Because I think like the last big tour she did was what was it? The It's My Party tour. So yeah, it was 6 years ago because when she was celebrating her 50th, that's when she was able to put something together. But then she tried to do the This Is Me tour, and it was sort of like nobody was liking that music. We didn't ask for that album. I barely could get through the first This Is Me Now. So I didn't care about This Is Me Now Part 2. And because you know that your strong suit is not the ballads. You need to stick to the dance music, the international dance tracks, the pop stuff. Like that was your way out. And then some of that New York-esque urban music. We like when Hannaford was out here cosplaying in different situations. Then she thought, oh, let me try to come out here and battle Mariah Carey in the vocal department. It's like, sis, if you got to do 8 takes to get one note right, and if they got to do vocal corrections on your stuff, then stop trying to compete with the elusive Chanteuse because it's not going to work. So, as y'all know, This Is Me Live was canceled last year with a statement revealing that the Salinas star will be taking time off to be with her children, family, and close friends. Now, Jennifer, who the outlet noted not bringing up Affleck by name, rekindled her romance with the Argo star. Didn't he direct that movie too? In 2021, shortly after splitting from A-Rod. The couple named Bennifer, or as I would say, Bienifer, but it doesn't have the same ring as Jennifer. Because like the H allows you to push it out more. Bienifer just sounds like Bennifer. Were first set to tie the knot decades ago before going their separate ways after postponing their wedding. They eventually found their way back to one another during the pandemic and tied the knot in Las Vegas in 2022, followed by a more elaborate ceremony shortly after. But over a year later, speculation about the couple were already on the outs, and Jennifer not allegedly, ultimately filed for divorce in August of 2024. The marriage was officially over a few months later. On top of it all, Jennifer has even made a movie inspired by the love story This Is Me Now, a love story. Chill. Don't even get me started with that. And then also the greatest love story never told, which, like I've said many a times, there's a reason why it was never told, because then you end up divorced. A documentary about the making of the film, which included Affleck and was financed by Jennifer, and was said to embark on a world tour that subsequently was canceled. It was a challenging time, and Jennifer found herself leaning on books, spirituality, and self-reflection to overcome the pain, saying she had a rough year. Unexpected things happened, and so I read a lot of books. I did a lot of self-introspection. I did meditation. I prayed a lot. I wanted to improve my relationship with the Lord, but she said God. I wanted to kind of really solidify the family unit that is me and my 2 children, my twins. She also added, listening to other people who have been through similar experiences or different experiences than you, I think it's the thing I love most. So I actually like that. And I hope that this is true, though, that she's walking the walk and not just saying this, just because it sounds cute or whatever. She also said that she read a lot of books on childhood, marriage, relationships, different styles of love, the brain, science, and over the years, I've done individual therapy, couples therapy, family therapy. I've had everything. I'm always kind of searching. I think it's all about learning about yourself. It's all about knowing yourself. You have to be ready for that, and you have to want it. And even when you want it, it's hard to change certain things, but you can. So it kind of makes me wonder when she came up with that little movie that was on Prime Video, right? And she was making it seem like, oh yeah, I went to the therapy and I found the key to what opened me up to this thing. And then all of a sudden you see at the end the shadowy figure that has been. So I'm like, so was that all performative? Was that all a bunch of BS that you was feeding us? Which I did roll my eyes and side eye that whole damn movie. I'm like, girl, I'm not buying none of this. And I'm glad once again because one of the things about Virgos, we can clock your shit before y'all even try. Like the stuff y'all be trying to feed you, and girl, I see through all this. In the words of Peaches from Low Down There, I could see through all that Maybelline. Like I saw through all of it. So I wasn't buying none of that she was trying to sell us today. And clearly, a lot of y'all didn't believe it either because the documentary was a flop, the tour was a chop, and the little musical, unless you was a hardcore J lover who just eats the shit out her ass, which a lot of the stands usually do, and that's a big ass, Chad. Um, people, they were gonna they were gonna forever drink the Kool-Aid, so you can't get past the stand-em. That just is what it is. The people that's in the cold is in the cold. But everybody outside of that is like, okay, this is cute. Like, they see the forest for the trees. They're a little optimistic. They believe in love. But child, my cynical side saw through all that mess from the beginning. So, and it's funny how we got Emmy who went from this look to now they're non-binary. Shout out to them. But it seemed like that, you know what, the good thing is, based on appearances, Ben and Jennifer are on good terms. So good for them. So as I said before, I hope this isn't performative, word salad as she's feeding to the press, and is genuinely on a self-reflecting spiritual path. Because when you get to be a certain age, I do feel like it's vitally important that people kind of go on that moment, take those moments of self-reflection, and also go on this path of like, who am I? Why am I here? There's got to be more in this world for me to want. And so, look, like I said before, I do feel like that she said this before when she was promoting "This Is Me Now" and all that other stuff. The album, the Prime Video stuff, all of that. So I really do hope that she took the time to self-reflect, because it is a perfect example, in my opinion, that I feel like it is a way to set this example for your teenagers, your twins, who are at that impressionable age. So I really hope that those books you was reading on childhood, marriage, relationships, different styles of love, science, all those things, I really hope that you're taking that in and really finding ways to change up who you are. Because she did say that, you know what, even when you do want those changes and you receive it, it is hard to change certain things about yourself. And it is, because when you are at a certain point where it's like you're set in your ways and you're not willing to change up things or whatever, it is hard. It's always, because I'll even say for me, it's hard at times for me to want to change up things or change routines, and I kind of push. I do like intense pushback when it comes to people talking. Don't be putting that shit on me. I ain't ready. But then after a while, I'll sit with it, and then I'm like, you know what? Take the time to really like absorb it, whatever the case. So it just happens on a subconscious level where it's like, okay, I think I'm ready for this moment, and I'm ready to change these things up and all that. So shout out to you, Jennifer. Like I said before, I hope you are walking that talk, walking like you talk it. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Do y'all believe that Jennifer Lopez had taken the time to actually, self-reflect, read a lot of books, and took a lot of positive things from those books and is applying that to her life? And hopefully we'll see, and I love the fact that we ain't seeing her out here with no man post Ben. Like, she's taking really a lot of time. She's focusing on her work. She's focusing on this tour. Like I said before, girl, get you Madonna does seem serious with this guy that she's with. But take off like the Madonna approach. I would even say Leonardo DiCaprio. Get you a cute young man, a cute young thing, have him dig your back out. Whenever the feeling is what it is, don't introduce him to your sons. I mean, your son and your child, well, your son and your child, Emmy, and you know, then there's that. But then again, Madonna the kids all know who her new man is, and Cher man, they know her kids know who her man is too. So, but then they all grown except Madonna kids. But you know what I'm saying? Just get you a good man, Savannah, somebody that can clean them pipes temporarily, and when you good and ready to discard them to toss them to the side. Don't get you. I was gonna say, don't get you a Dominican. You know how mean they get, or controlling. But then again, she almost had one with A-Rod. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. I think A-Rod is Dominican. Mm-hmm. Artists got to prove / reinvent themselves every generation. That's what I was going to say. You do have to reinvent yourself. And I know it just, some people feel like it's a bunch of, oh no, I've been here long enough. I don't have, says who? Because people don't sit around forever. Fans are not always going to just like you're not going to maintain your being on top for the rest of your life. So you do have to constantly reinvent yourself. Madonna, if anybody knew how to do that, it was her. You have to constantly reinvent yourself for a new generation. You even have young people now who listen to Madonna's music and are sitting up here reviewing her music. They're reviewing her tours and her videos. Like I just saw a video the other day of a kid who just got put on to Madonna, and he's reviewing the confession store and a bunch of other stuff. So you get all those kids of every generation. For known by Chaser. Child, I wouldn't even go as far as to say just them two. You forgot to add Casper. hmm Who busy out here selling weed out his house. Well, I've heard stories about her. I would not be surprised. Like Mark Anthony definitely gives like he man spreads while you just get between them legs and slop that knob, and he like it sloppy too. Sorry, not sorry, J Lo fake his press on nails. Ooh, Sailor Mermaid's in the building. This is how I say he Dominican. He definitely gives off Dominican energy. Ben Affleck, bisexual. Mm. Yeah, because remember, I don't even think Diddy could deny it anymore at this point. Because remember, when we talked about the requirements that goes for the whole Diddy trial, they said that y'all have to be, if you're gonna be picked for this whole trial situation, y'all got to be open to different alternative lifestyles. Alternative lifestyle that's considered part of the LGBTQ plus spectrum, and Diddy is notorious for dabbling in queer spaces, sexually and otherwise. All right, y'all. All right, let's get into this Leah Michele story because now she's finally speaking about something that we've been talking about for years. But it's always funny how, like, years later, when nobody cares anymore, then they go on these podcasts and they start spilling shit that we already knew. But nevertheless, here we are. So yeah, so she went on this podcast with who was just hosted by Jake Shane called Therapus. That sounds like a gay podcast. Therapus. So Michele, who's 38, basically he asked her whether she and her co-stars banded together in a very tight-knit way after the tragedy of Corey Monteith, because he passed away in 2013. I think it was a drug overdose. And I'm like, damn, that was over 10 years ago. Time flies. And I love me some Corey Monteith. First of all, I was a huge Glee back in the day for like maybe the first 3 seasons. Then I was like, okay, it's getting in that Ryan Murphy mode where it's like, okay, now the show's getting ridiculous and I got to bail. But then I did stick around a little bit when Unique came on and I got to meet Alex Newell at the Drag Race premiere, the recent one. But anyway, damn nose is itching. So the Broadway star clarified, well, she basically said no. That was her reply. But then she clarified by saying the following. She said, I think in some ways it did for certain people, but I think that for me, it was so hard. I just completely broke. I was really in a one-track mind of just doing my job. It was way too much to try to process at a young age, but I'm very grateful for everyone there. Whether or not they know it, I personally felt a lot of support from everybody in the building helping me get through. Now, Michele, who played Rachel Berry on the 6th-season Fox show, specifically expressed gratitude to the crew members for helping her get through Monteith's death at age 31. She and the actor who played Finn Hudson on Glee had been dating for 1 year when he fatally overdosed on heroin in his hotel room in Canada. The crew members were holding me up so much, as well as the people who were on the show, she recalled of navigating her grief. But a lot of people were gone by then, which was hard. At the time, the Emmy nominee felt as if she wasn't allowed to stop and had to keep going. She explained, if we didn't show up to work, then people wouldn't have work to go to. That was a lot of pressure for me. I had to put my stuff aside and show up so that everybody could just continue to work. Now, Michele's candid reflection of the sad and depressing time on set comes 5 years after she was called out for mean girl behavior. Now, Samantha Ware, who played Jane Hayward on season 6 of the musical comedy, or I should say dramedy, put her co-star on blast in June of 2020 of allegedly making work a living hell for her. The 33-year-old tweeted, I believe you told everyone that if you had the opportunity, you would shit in my wig almost amongst the traumatic microaggressions that made me question a career in Hollywood. Now, Michele, who publicly apologized in a lengthy Instagram statement, was also called out by Heather Morris and Amber Riley the same month. Now, Morris, who's 38, labeled Michele very unpleasant to work with on Twitter, while Riley, 39, told Real Quick with Danielle Young listeners she had heard from a lot of Black actors and actresses being terrorized by the white girls that were the leads of the show. Now, Michelle's Spring Awakening co-star Gerard Canonico also made headlines for claims that the Screen Queens alum was a nightmare. Now, Michele skirted around the scandal while speaking to Interview magazine about the funny girl role in 2023, saying it's helpful to have the opportunity to introduce people to who I am now. Now, while the singer didn't directly speak to her reputation on Thursday's podcast episode, she did address longstanding rumors somebody said she was illiterate and hilariously debunked them with proof that she could read. I was like, who came over? I ain't never heard that story about her being illiterate. Maybe I don't be paying attention to Leah like that, but I will say this, not making excuses for her, but I can totally understand that at the time, you have to think about back in the 2010s, you really couldn't speak out about, when it comes to, especially my generation, the way that we're taught, especially when it comes to performance and stuff, don't complain, go in, do the job. Nobody wants to hear your whatever. And then we bottle that up inside, because I know I do. And you want to know something that I noticed too? If I'm not mistaken, I do believe Leah is a Virgo. So that I can speak on. Let me check. What year was Leah Michele born? I think she is a Virgo. Yep, August 29th. Like I said, now Virgos, we have a habit of just putting our head down, doing the work, and hoarding everything inside. We don't like to bother people with our stuff, whatever that stuff is. But the problem, and I think what probably might be with her, is that we can be a little moody at times. A lot of moody. I'm trying to be nice, but we can be moody at times. I've gotten better at suppressing that over the years, where it's like, I got to remember that the attitude is for other times. If I'm being professional, I got to be professional regardless. Because there have been many situations that I put myself in where it's like I allowed my little shadiness to cause me to lose opportunities and jobs and things. So I've had to learn over the years how to curtail that and not take my aggressions out on other people. So I could definitely see her being shady. And a lot of times we do bottle things down in ourselves until we allow it to the cup runneth over, I'll say. And then when that cup runneth over, we don't know how to turn that damn faucet off. And then we just keep going and going and going and going and going and going and going. The shade keeps going. And then they'll be like, oh, you're a nightmare, or you're this, or you're that. And we have ways about when we get pissed off or people piss us off about certain things, how we continue to poke the bear, how we continue to jab. And, I'll take fault in some of the shadiness that I partake in at times when people piss me off. So I'm not saying that those people probably did something to piss her off, but like I said before, we have ways about us that can be worked on. And I would not be surprised if she was being shady with that. But I also will say this, like at the time when she was young and she didn't know how to navigate through all that success, especially when you're a Broadway star coming into the TV game, that's a way different playing field that you're coming into. You're getting paid weekly. You get paid way more money than you do in the theater. So, and when you're young and you have, and they say with great power comes great responsibility, a lot of young people don't know how to navigate and deal with a lot of that power and influence and all the other stuff that comes with that. So I can totally see how she was a nightmare, or she was just like, I would genuinely focus on that and on the work, and I came across as cold to a lot of people, because a lot of times you don't see it. It's like we got these blinders on, we just looking, we're just keeping our focus, our eye on the prize. Our focus is just looking ahead. We don't give a damn who's around us. Excuse me. And however you feel, oh well, you're just gonna have to deal with it. But it would have been nice if the podcaster, because they did mention, I didn't see it, they said that it wasn't addressed. I would have loved if you have an opportunity to have someone on your show, and this is what's irritating me, because the Golden Globes is now created something where they're doing best podcast category, and we don't even know what that means. That sounds about as vague as Trump is with these tariffs on Hollywood movies. So I need specifics in regards to that. And the problem is with these podcasts, if you're trying to go in this direction of like, I'm a podcaster who interviews a lot of celebrities like Call Me Daddy or the Las Culturistas or Kiki Palmer or even this podcast, the question remains, if I have an opportunity to interview Aaliyah Michele, yeah, we could talk about the Corey Monteith stuff, but also those rumors of people on the show who said that you had this type of reputation. Why wouldn't she be able to address that? Because wouldn't that be an opportunity for you to want to clear your name? Because people always all look at Leah Michele as she's problematic. She's a mean girl. And you don't want to walk around with that reputation. Excuse me. I mean, it's cute or whatever that she got to go back to the theater. She did, what was it, Funny Girl? When Funny Girl was a success. So it was good that she was able to redeem herself in the theater world. But if it was time for me to if it was a way for me to get on an interview, I'd be like, y'all can ask me whatever I want. I mean, whatever you want, and I'm an open book. Like, but it just feels like a lot of these interviewers are so scared to interview, and I think also it's the people's team too. They get scared to even. Well, no, that you asked me, you won't ever get invited on this show ever again. It's like whatever. Then I guess I won't interview. That's what we're getting. But it definitely, you have to always reassure these people that it will help them in some sort of way. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story in regards to Leah Michele addressing the relationship that she had, fractured relationship she had with the Glee cast? And, after she was called the mean girl and all this other stuff, and what she was saying, that the things that she had to deal with in the wake of Corey Monteith's untimely death. So whatever your thoughts are on that story, I definitely want to hear from y'all. So let me know what your thoughts are on this story in the comments down below. The urban legend of her not being able to read is one of the funniest celebrity rumors ever. How did I not hear about that? This girl does not possess the. Ooh, you think it's that big old nose? Look, I be saying that all the time. Sometimes I be looking at people like, girl, first of all, you look a hot ass mess. And all of that doesn't even warrant you with all this behavior. It's kind of like what I said about Doshi the other day at the Met Gala. It's like, sis, that outfit you got on does not warrant all of this extra attitude that you coming up in there with the stupid umbrellas and all that mess. I was like, you think it's the nose? If you know what I'm saying, and I think you do. Because, those big old noses equate with a certain group's ethnicity, is what I was hinting at. But anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about Melissa Rivers, who, is talking about the Met Gala. So the one thing that that I loved back in the day, and may she rest in peace, I love me some Joan Rivers. She is like one of my top favorite comedians ever. Her, I love me some Bianca Del Rio and some of the others. I love insult comics. I always think like those who are really willing to go there and push the envelope. And one of the things I've always loved about Joan is that she just read celebrities down to the floor. And a lot of them, I know some of them didn't like it, but it was entertaining and it was funny. And of course, if people come on the red carpet, we live for those fashions. But Melissa talking about, and I love Fashion Police. Fashion Police was always a cackle. I used to look forward every Friday night when that show came on. And then they tried to reboot it when Joan wasn't there. But Joan is one of a kind, and you can't do Fashion Police without Joan. But she also said that the Met Gala needs fashion critics but then again, we do see fashion critics do exist. If you, like, I showed y'all a video of a TikToker who's also a stylist who was critiquing a lot of the clothes. And I think that you could do a fashion show. You just have to, I just think the new critics are all over social media. So you got to pick those TikTok, Instagram people, but they all both use the same thing. So Melissa recently did an interview, and on the 13th, I should point out next week, NBC is airing a special called Joan Rivers, A Dead Funny All-Star Tribute, which I'm actually looking forward to seeing. So it's a comedy special that was taped at the Apollo Theater in Harlem last November during the 20th annual New York Comedy Festival. The show features some of the most famous stand-up comics, including Chelsea Handler, Nikki Glazer, Tiffany Haddish, Aubrey Plaza, and Rita Wilson, all highlighting Joan's epic, groundbreaking comedy. Now, ahead of the special, Melissa, who's 57, dropped by the DailyMail.com office to talk about why the Fashion Police would never happen today and what she really thought about this year's Met Gala ensembles and why fashion is simply not that serious, which I actually been saying. It's not that serious, just fucking clothes. Now, on Monday, celebrities hit the red carpet at the Met, or I should say MoMA, Metropolitan Museum of Art, in New York City for the annual Met Gala and leaned into the theme, which was super fine, tailoring Black style, which explored Black dandyism from the 18th century to its revival during the Harlem Renaissance and its impact on fashion today. The dress code was tailored for you, which is a nod to menswear and suiting as seen in the exhibit at the Met. Now, viewer at home called the outfits underwhelming and boring, with many A-listers opting for basic black and white ensembles. But Melissa loved the theme and said it's time that we had a men's lead in the theme, especially since everything comes down to good tailoring. Now, while the red carpet expert appreciated that men did a great job, Melissa also thought the theme was very confusing for the women, and a lot of women looked like they would be looking great. They could be looking great on any red carpet, and I do agree with that. I was underwhelmed by a lot of the women, but I did like a lot of the menswear stuff. But some girls that I thought was relatively doing a phenomenal job with the menswear look. Madonna did a great job. Zendaya did a good job, although this looked like just some any old suit that Zendaya could wear on the red carpet. I loved what Tiana Taylor wore. I loved what Rihanna wore. I loved what who's the other one? I mean, Megan Thee Stallion was cute, right? Diana Ross was cute, but I just felt like y'all wasn't giving me Harlem. Y'all wasn't giving me like tailored suit, Harlem Renaissance. Y'all wasn't giving me that whole vibe. And there was a lot of people that was following the lead. Of the whole tailored suit thing. I also loved Janelle Monáe. She really gave me my life with her look. I love what she came up with. So I was loving a lot of suits. Tyson Bedford looked like he was about to wait tables and bring hors d'oeuvres to all the celebrities in his suit. So I really wasn't feeling it. Coleman Domingo, y'all already know that man could do no wrong in my eyes when it comes to the fashion. So he served. I ain't know what the hell Alicia Keys and her husband was wearing. The do-rag or whatever was cute, but I would have liked if he would put like I would have thought like, you know what, you should have copied over Simone Ye as a from Drag Race. You should have did like a do-rag train with your outfit, but also wear like a really cool top hat or fedora. Like I would have wanted some over-the-top fedora or top hat or whatever to go along with that look. I would have did something like that. Like the Grace Jones hat that she wears on the cover of what was it, that album, Hurricane, on her last album that she did, and she wears like that cute little hat. Bob the Drag Queen wears that same hat on Madonna's tour. Well, did when she had the celebration tour. But I would like something like that, but like a big, over exaggerated hat to go along with that. But that's just me. So the New York born producer appreciated that Tracy Ellis Ross, Janelle Monáe, and Mindy Kaling all took the theme, got the memo, and took it to the next level because it's the Met Gala, but were disappointed in some of the other ensembles. She said Zendaya wore a spectacular white suit, but said it could be a spectacular white suit on any red carpet because it didn't have that Met spin. Well, Laura Roach actually dresses her, and Laura Roach looks a mess too. So that was the one time, like I said, while Zendaya does look good in this picture, it does look like this could be any kind of white tailored suit that you could wear anywhere, anytime. But the body is snatched. It's perfectly tailored. It's cute, but it just felt like it was underwhelming. The star clarified that she wasn't picking on Zendaya because she did nothing wrong, adding that the Euphoria star is annoyingly perfect between the talent and the body and the looks and the styling, joking it's aggravating at this point. Now, Melissa believes many of the female attendees did not take their looks Met Gala worthy because of confusion around the tailoring and the suiting, as well as how to elevate it. Well, that's the problem, I think, with any Met Gala, that a lot of times these celebrities who show up, I don't know if it's maybe y'all got stupid stylists or you're just not that smart when it comes to the fashion, but you're trying to jump into the whole situation. But a little research would suffice. Y'all don't got Google? Google don't work on y'all end? I mean, it's free. So I don't understand how you don't understand the overall theme. And I think it happens with not just this specific particular theme. I feel like it happens every season. Remember when they did camp? A lot of them couldn't figure out what the hell camp was. And I'm like, look at a drag queen. Like you could just hit up your favorite drag queen or whatever. They could have pointed out what the hell camp is. So they could figure that out. It's like just do the research, look into it. Y'all don't look into nothing. That's why I would say, like, when you see certain celebrities who are pretty much like they love fashion, they understand it, they do the research, even if you don't necessarily understand the overall theme. So Melissa also believes that that while many fashion critics, are attacked and even canceled for honestly critiquing looks. Melissa thinks the Met Gala is the one red carpet left where you can really give an opinion because it's meant to be over the top. Saying, quote, "You're not going to see anything on the steps of the Met Gala you will ever wear in your life. It's a night of creativity and looking at fashion as art." You want to know something? Another place that was able to kind of play into that whole playground of fashion or people just wearing or doing whatever they wanted. The MTV VMAs used to do that too. And I used to love that people would show up at they were like, this is the one time that you could show up on a red carpet and really play around with your look and it'd be cool and just, and nobody was beyond reproach. Like you could just have fun with it. And now it's like everybody takes everything so seriously. You can't critique people's stuff. And that's why I was like, yeah, I do not think that Fashion Police would ever work in this day and age. Like, I really don't feel like that. And it's unfortunate because I was a huge Fashion Police fan. And I would love to see them bring that show back in some sort of capacity where you just have, fashion people critiquing or giving their opinion on clothes. But I think maybe, you know what? I think in on social media, like the type of show that I do, I think it is possible that you could bring a fashion critic on and we could just talk about fashion and you won't get canceled. Nobody won't drag you. I just think it's mainstream television because network legacy media is just still trying to figure out how to navigate through the consistent changes that a lot more of us who are way more progressive in being opinionated and critiquing without being shady does it. Because when I talk about outfits and things, or when I talk about celebrities, I'm not doing it to be in a mean-spirited way, unless you do some mean-spirited stuff, and then you get, and then it's warrant for critique. If you out here doing some fuck shit. But for the most part, it's like, yeah, when we talk about, I'll say for me, when I'm on here talking about people, it's in a way to inform. Of course, I'm doing the roast and the gags and being funny, but it's no shade. It's just, I'm reporting the news or stuff that's alleged. I can't believe that Fashion Police ran for 14 seasons on E. I can't even believe that it lasted that long. I didn't even realize it lasted that long because I watched it so damn much. And what I loved about, excuse me, about Fashion Police, Melissa and her mother were never afraid to voice their opinions about what people wore. And, Joan was a savage when it came to talking about the fashions and stuff. And now it's like today, journalists and critics are often attacked for sharing negative reviews. And that is true because it's like, but then it's like, I guess it's because it's journalists and critics, it's not necessarily personalities. But then personalities get it too. And then it's like, it's mostly the stands because it's like, oh, if somebody says anything about your favorite artist, be it Beyonce, Lady Gaga, Rihanna, Taylor Swift, if you say anything about them, you already know the stand-em from those groups are going to come in and tell you to unalive yourself and all this other stuff. And here's the thing with me, this mouth is just as lethal. I'm not beyond a clapback to the point where I will cuss you out and I will block you shortly after because I don't want you trying to report me for bullying and hate speech. Well, you're the one that started it. So I'm not a starter. I'm a finisher. But then, of course, you get those people that'll be so quick to be like, they want to play the victim after they the one that initiated the drama. Don't start none, don't be none. Or as one of my friends would say, won't start no shit, won't be no shit. Won't start no shit, won't be no shit. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? I would love to see, well, she did also say that what her mother would think about cancel culture. She said that there would never be a fashion police again because everybody is too scared. So do you think that fashion police could exist in a time like now? I love those type of shows. I like when people went in and was being shady and being critical because it's funny. It's like it's no shade. It's just we all just having fun. We kicking, we being messy. So I think the gays can get away with that because that's what we do. We roast what we got. But then again, there's people that be sensitive about drag race. Oh, you a bully. And then it's like, if you've ever been in a drag queen's dressing room, if you hung around enough drag queens, it's a term of endearment for them to read you. And that's kind of like what's not even, I don't even think I think it even goes beyond drag. I think it also goes within, catty homosexuals. We roast and gag each other. We read each other. And that's a way for us to show love and affection. I can't tell you how many of my butch queen friends that I've read and vice versa. And we have our moments where they read me and I read them back. But because we know each other, it's not an issue because it's love. What I usually tell people is if I didn't like your ass, I wouldn't talk about you at all. So you better be glad I'm saying something to you. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Zendaya's suit to me was like an ode to mahogany film with Diana and Diana being there too. That was even a plus. Joan loves Zendaya. I remember when she was on Fashion Police and Joan and Zendaya bonded instantly and they became friends. Well, everybody likes Zendaya. Zendaya said she thought Joan was another grandmother. I think a lot of people thought of her that way. Well, no, I think it depends because I think sometimes because it's the Grammys, a lot of people feel like, oh yeah, I got to take myself real serious when it comes to this. But I do agree, people are too damn sensitive. No, nothing wrong with constructive criticism. There's a difference between that and bashing with ill intentions. Most people, especially in this age, can't handle being. No, they cannot, and that's what it is too. I just think a lot of people don't know the difference between, you know, a critique to help you or a critique to be shady. And I feel like if you are smart enough, you can tell by the tone of somebody's voice. It's like, bitch, you're not trying to give me constructive criticism. You doing that because you a mean ass bitch. You being shady, and now I'm gonna have to cut you out. Oh, sidebar, I forgot to mention today is Robert's birthday. So happy birthday, Robert! In case y'all didn't know that. A lot of people who attended didn't get the memo about what to wear at the Met Gala. I would think that they would have gotten the memo because I'm like, if don't they give them time to come up with their outfits and what to wear and stuff? I mean, you had what's her name? Diana Ross said she got that dress out of her closet. I guess the cape and everything that came, I mean the coat that came along with that, she got that from somewhere else, but she found a dress in her closet. Too many people have unchecked egos, and it results in a lot of people praising the bare minimum and mediocrity, which in the long run, that part, especially the younger generation, change eventually. Yeah, I heard about that too. And then said, I would say, because I think the problem is a lot of these clear folks don't like being told that they can't say nothing. Was it a sidebar? Now, speaking of clear folks, was I the only one that laughed when that woman that was on Fox News that was spreading all them lies about Joe Biden and Kamala Harris fainted live on TV? I did have the biggest cackle when I watched that. I was like, see, you ain't never going to win when you play dirty. All that damn lying, kept all that air from going to your brain and you went hit the floor. And the man's like, because somebody gets some help over here, like literally just like no souls. And now they gonna get that alcoholic Janine Pirro a job in the White House. So now her plastic ass is leaving. I could never stand that bitch. I would say most black, well, that's because it was kind of geared towards us. So yeah, of course we gonna eat. I don't know what the hell Jenna Ortega was wearing. I was like, y'all didn't get the memo. To them, it wasn't a slur, though it's towards disabled people. I mean, it is. Happy birthday. Go to Red Lobster if you can. I really think they're going to lose the biggest all seafood restaurant. It is expensive. I haven't been to Red Lobster in years, and y'all already know. Well, I'm actually supposed to go hang out after I work the Knicks game tomorrow, which is like my call time is early. So I think it's going to pop up on TV at 3 o'clock or something or another. But right after, I'm going to go meet up with some friends because it is my friend Brandon's birthday. So I'm gonna go. So I think he's turning 30 or 31. He gonna kill me if I don't remember his age. But yeah, he's or it might be he is. I think he's turning. Yeah, I think he's turning 30. But nevertheless, I'm supposed to hang out with him tomorrow. Um, and so yeah, I'm like, I would be like, yeah, let's go to Red Lobster. The problem is, anytime you go to Times Square, they be jacking them extra prices up because of the tourist thing, and I already know they're gonna jack it up even more because tourism is down because of the current administration. So it's going to get even worse with the prices versus if you go outside of Times Square, the food is a lot cheaper. Because like even what I said about BBQs in Times Square is hella expensive. But and I've told my parents this when they go to see Broadway plays and stuff, they'll go to like the BBQs or they'll go to those places. I'm like, go to the one on 23rd Street and 8th Avenue. It's a lot cheaper. It's the same restaurant. It's just less expensive. It's less expensive if you go to the one on 8th Avenue and 23rd Street. Do they listen? No. So I think my father loves spending money. Might as well since he retired. I said, did you see the clip of Trump whining about being banned? I did comment on it. I'm like, because Anna Wintour don't like his ass. But I'm like, sir, even if nobody would have wanted you there anyway, because it would have been annoying. All that damn Secret Service, the celebrities would have been pissed. I'm like, anybody got time for this? I'm trying to get on the red carpet. This outfit is heavy as hell. I ain't got time for you and your shenanigans and making it about you. And you mad about the Met Gala. You supposed to be being the president. Can you finish being the president instead of worrying about the Met Gala? And that's one thing he can't say that he's going to take money away from, because that's from donations from celebrities and things, which is why they made the most money that they made ever, which was like, what did I say, like 30 million or something? So if you plan on trying to come for that, you wasting your time, sir. And I'm sure because he mad about Kamala Harris being there. I guarantee you he's already written something about Joe Biden being on The View yesterday. I guarantee you he's already went and did a whole thing about it because he can't help himself. Yeah, okay. Well, look, him and Kanye, if they don't believe they own BS, who will? The greatest president in history. According to who? MAGA? The people you got in your cabinet that have to lick the crack of your ass before they can even tell you what policies they're doing or not doing? Oh, you are so great. We love you. I was like, okay, it is giving cult up in that White House. And I can imagine a smell up in there with all that baloney. But anyway, let's move on because I don't want to go on a tangent about that man. How many more topics we got? All right. So we have 4 more topics until we can officially wrap up this show, until I come back next week with a whole new episode. So before we get to those topics, if you could please do me a solid and hit that like button and that subscribe button if you are new to the channel. And also be sure to smash that notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. I'll also be putting in, oh, excuse me, not the burps. I'm drinking all that damn soda. I'll also be putting in timestamps during the live, once the live chat is over in the playback. So that way, if you need to just skip right over to the banter I'll be doing the show and get to whatever topic that we get to, you can definitely do that once I get around to that. Okay. Thank you very much for y'all's support, per usual. So now, without further ado, let's get into some transgender news. I was going to say homosexual, but there's no homosexuals up in here. That'll be the next topic to be up coming up. So Liev Schreiber is the latest celebrity to come out and talk about their trans child. We've been talking a lot about celebrities and trans children as of late. So we have Liev Schreiber, who y'all know has been in a lot of stuff. I loved him on Ray Donovan, but of course, I loved him as Cotton Weary in the Scream movies. Well, I'll say 2.5 because he was in the second one, he was in the third one, and he had a little cameo on TV in the first one when he was showing him getting arrested and going for the police car into the precinct and that sort of thing. But he had the long hair. But anyway, so yes, he is voicing his support for his daughter Kai and opening up about his experience parenting a trans child. Now, Schreiber says his 16-year-old daughter Kai never actually told him and her mom Naomi Watts that she was trans, saying, quote, Kai was always who Kai is. And this is what the Ray Donovan star told, I think it was Mark Malkin that he spoke to from Variety on Thursday morning. But I suppose he said, but, quote, but I suppose the most profound moment was her asking us to change her pronouns. To be honest with you, it didn't feel like that big of a deal to me because Kai had been so feminine for so long. I will join her dad and his wife Taylor. I don't know, when did he get remarried? Where have I been? So Kai will join her dad and his wife Taylor at the Ali Forney Center's A Place at the Table Gala on Friday night in New York City. The center provides housing and support for homeless LGBTQ youth. The center currently serves more than 2,200 young people through its 24/7 drop-in center and network of 13 emergency and transitional housing sites. Editors note, they said Variety's Mark Malkin is also co-chair of the gala. Okay, so Mark Malkin obviously wrote this if he had to insert himself and say he's a co-chair. Now, while Kai, who has made her modeling debut in March, walking the runway, eating the runway, serving the runway, and for Valentino before starring in an ad campaign for the luxury fashion house, many may not be facing the same hardships as those seeking help at the center. Schreiber explained her need to step, saying, this isn't just about representing the trans community. This is actually a community of people who don't have great resources, who don't have access to help, who aren't being protected and looked after by their families. There are people who are being rejected. These are people who are experiencing the harshest version of humanity that we can offer, and some of them are not surviving it. And we also have the Harvey Milk School, where I knew people, and even my cousin went to the Harvey Milk School, where it was like, yeah, when you are so bullied and you don't have a place to go, especially when you're getting picked on in school for being um, part of the LGBTQ plus community, you went to the Harvey Milk School, and that's where you got your education. And so it was good to learn that, even back in the 90s and stuff, that sort of resource existed. I actually thought about wanting to go to that school, but my problem was, well, the thing with me was there was speculation about my sexuality, but I wasn't out of the closet. So I had a good schooling in regards to like high school and stuff. So I just kind of worked on, you know, just going to school, educating myself, doing what I needed to do, and keeping it moving. So they said we got to bear that in mind when we go out there and glam ourselves up and getting ready to be seen. This is what Schreiber said. Continuing with the following. Now they said that that what we're doing is actually raising money for a community that desperately needs it. Now Kai is embracing her space in the trans community like never before, Schreiber says. Kai is such a fighter, he said. It's important that she goes, hey, I'm trans and look at me. Whereas a lot of people don't want to have eyes and stuff on them. But the good thing about it is representation matters. So when people go ask, why y'all always gotta announce when y'all gay or when you're trans or when you're this, so because of situations where we have a certain administration trying to roll back all of our rights, and there's such a high unaliving rate, self-unaliving rate, because certain the way these algorithms run, I gotta change the wording of certain things. This is why we have to have strength in numbers. This is why, a lot of times celebrities or celebrity children have to come out and say they're trans, from Zaya Wade on down to Kai Schreiber, because of this situation. Most recently, we got Robert De Niro's daughter came out as trans. Now we heard about Eddie Murphy and Mel B's son is trans. Well, daughter now son, Phoenix, is transgender. So we hear all the stories of so many kids coming out, and I feel like Zaya did definitely lay the I mean, there may have been celebrities before her, but the only one I can think of off the top of my head is Zaya Wade. And I feel like since she came out, a lot of Nepo babies, I'll just put them as that, because, that's how y'all know child celebrity. They felt comfortable enough to come out as transgender. And unfortunately, we live in a time where people worship celebrity. They don't want to hear it from a politician. They don't want to hear from this person, that person. But if a celebrity or the child of a celebrity comes out and say they trans, then they feel like, okay, so now this person is a perfect example for me to look up to. So that way I don't feel like I'm alone. So that's why, and it's funny how in 2025, I'm still having to explain this, why people continually have to come out and say these things. So Schreiber chooses his words carefully when asked to offer advice to parents of children coming out as trans, saying, I don't know the answer for your kid. I do know what it's like for you to be a trans dad. I don't know how you were brought up. I don't know what religion you encounter or what your spirituality is. And for me to tell you what I think about my kid feels like an overstep. But then he adds with a laugh, I guess if I would say anything to someone who's having trouble with their trans teen or their adolescent trans kid, it's teenagers are a headache. They're hard, and tell me about it. It doesn't matter whether they are trans or not, because you'll come out of this. But a trans teen is going to be a teen. They're such a pain. They're such a pain so much of the time. And Kai is as feisty and as outspoken as they come. Now, Schreiber isn't oblivious to the political attacks against the trans community. Most recently, the Supreme Court upheld President Trump's ban on trans service members in the U.S. military as lower courts hear cases trying to overturn the president's executive order, which I already know that man is obsessed with dropping a damn executive order on some mess. However, Schreiber explains that he remains hopeful, saying, I don't like to dwell on it too much. To some degree, I feel like I don't want to overcook that fear or that anxiety. There's enough in the world to be anxious and afraid about. And I actually agree with him on that because, as somebody who definitely goes down a lot of political rabbit holes and is trying to absorb and keep up with everything that Trump is doing because he's throwing so many executive orders all at once. And that's what they say, flood the zone, confuse people. So that way, while the train is going 800 miles an hour, and then you got the rest of us going at 50 miles an hour, it's hard for us to catch up with all the BS. So it's hard to find that balance of let's not get overwhelmed. Let's not get overly anxious about everything that's going on. Let's just try to see what we can do and fight what we can fight and try to stop all this foolishness. Because if you do focus too much on that stuff, it's going to drive you crazy. You're going to rack your brain, and you're going to want to like find the nearest cliff to jump. So it's just you just got to be careful with all that stuff. So I do feel like, you know what, it seems crazy at this point. It seems insane, but I do feel like at the eventually we will come out of the other side victorious. It's going to take us a while. It's going to probably take us a numerous amount of years, but I definitely, I'm pretty much optimistic in that way. So shout out to Liev, shout out to his daughter for feeling brave and wanting to help, even though with her modeling and everything, and she knows that she is privileged, that she wants to do the work to help people like her who are not in the best of situations get the help that they need. So shout out to y'all, and I definitely want to hear from you guys regarding this story. So let me know what your thoughts are on this story in the comments down below. Well, the word great doesn't always mean it's a positive one. He could be the greatest in the worst negative. And so they say, I know what you are. Some drag race tea. Willem claims Shea Coulee's drag daughter Discord. Oh, that's not, oh, no, well, that is a story that is going around and is true. I'm well aware of Discord Adams, long before she was on the show. I think I used to follow her, or she used to follow me on social media. But yeah, that she did get kicked off. That is the story. So I'm glad we have the second person that came in with that. But yeah, I saw that there was that story going around on TikTok. Onyx sent me that, and then I started hearing things about that. But yeah, but Willem need to stop spilling tea. And I was looking for that episode that you was it you that was telling me about that with Willem talking about Jiggly Caliente, which last night, shout out to them for paying tribute to Jiggly at the end of the first episode of Drag Race, which we're about to get into that in a second. But I've been trying to see like, okay, so when are y'all gonna drop the YouTube video, or is it that I gotta listen to the actual podcast? Because I do have it on my Spotify. So I was gonna listen to it earlier, but I was just so overwhelmed with so much stuff and trying to catch up on some things, like having to watch the second episode of Drag Race and all that. But yeah, I did hear about Discord Adams getting kicked off. But I'm like, girl, this is what y'all do. Y'all know damn well y'all not supposed to be out here putting paws on people. And here y'all out fighting. Hopefully it's addressed on the show. Because that would be some good tea. Where it's like y'all fade the black and y'all hit like y'all hit them throwing bowls and all the other stuff. Like we need that. Like it needs to be very Real Housewives with it, with the fighting. But girl, y'all know y'all cannot be putting paws on people, not on no damn TV. That's an automatic disqualification. But anyway, let's move on. And let's talk about Drag Race. So All Stars 10 premiered, I'd say this morning at 12 midnight. And I was gonna watch it exactly at 12, but I don't know, for some reason, I wanted to watch Silent Hill so bad. Because it's been so long since I've seen that movie. And I was looking on every streaming service for it. I'm like, damn, I could have sworn I bought that damn movie. So then I ended up watching it on Tubi, and I was like, oh God, I got to sit through the damn commercials with it. But nevertheless, I was done. I started watching Drag, the first one. I got mad too, because for some reason my Paramount Plus was acting up. But I was trying to rewind it during a certain part, like I was almost done with the first episode, and literally it took me right back to the beginning of the episode. And every time I tried to fast forward to get to that part that I was left off, it kept rebooting to the beginning of the show. So I don't know. Y'all need to get y'all apps together over there at Paramount, because it was a mess. And so so then I ended up rewatching, long story short, the first and the second episode today, because for some reason last night I started dozing off. I was getting tired. I couldn't concentrate on Drag Race. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I need this. This is an early morning show that I just got to take both of those in before, instead of watching it the second it drops. So I should say as y'all, or maybe y'all already know, the first 2 episodes of Drag Race has finally dropped, and now we have an idea of what this twist is amongst the queens. So, where they put the queens against each other. So, for those of you not familiar, they are splitting them in 3 groups of 6. So, 18 queens, 3 groups of 6. The first group is going to be put out for 3 episodes. So we have Aja, Deja Scott, Irene the Alien, Bosco, Olivia Lux, and Phoenix. They're in the first group. I think that's like their Team Orange or whatever. So their episodes last 3 episodes, or their episodes is like 3 weeks. So 3 episodes, each queen or each group. So we got the first 2. So that's the first 2 weeks. Next week, it'll be the final when the girls, we find out who makes it to the semifinals. So I actually like the way they're doing this. From what I've heard, it's 12 episodes, and then the final 3 episodes will be all the girls coming together and they duke it out for the crown. So it'll be the final 9. It'd be interesting to see how they work that out. Or maybe it's going to be a point system and nobody gets eliminated. And then we just see like in the final episode, it works out that way, which kind of, what, now that I think about it, I think I kind of like that. That it's like, yeah, it's a point system. So they're doing the point system from last season, but they found a way to eliminate all the other girls without making them feel like, oh, y'all spent all this money on looks, but you're not going to be able to show those looks when you get to the show. So I'm kind of, it's the concept is growing on me. Although at first I was a little hesitant. I was like, I don't know if I like this concept of what's happening with the queens and that whole thing. And I already have my top 3 of who I feel like is going to make it to the semifinals. And I'm sure maybe some of y'all will agree with me on this, but I see how it is. So the first episode was Winner Winner Chicken Dinner, which I'm gonna have to say that song is stupid. I understand y'all were trying to do the whole rock star thing. Of course, Aja ate, but everybody else was like, whatever. I've seen better alternative rock challenges on Dragula. Drag Race trying to do it, it just didn't work for me. And especially seeing Olivia, who Olivia was giving me like, she's too perfect. She doesn't want to, you're perfect, you're beautiful, you look like Linda Evangelista, you're a model. Like it was giving very that. And it was like, sis, I need you to muck it up a little bit. I did agree with Michele, and I'm glad she and I was on the same page, because when I was watching Phoenix, I was like, sis, you playing a little too safe. I felt like she did that in both challenges. We'll get to the second challenge in a second, which was a play on Murder on the Orient Express. And then it was called Murder on the Dance Floor. I'm like, child, we already know y'all about to lip sync to a damn Sophie Ellis-Bextor song, which predictably they did in the second episode. So we'll get to that in a second. But they did a remix of this song called Winner Winner Chicken. I'm like, does Ru actually have a song called Winner Winner Chicken Dinner? Because I don't remember that. But anyway, they had to write in their own lyrics, and then they sang and did all this stuff. And I was like, okay, girl, whatever. I was so underwhelmed by that challenge. But nevertheless, the top 2 of that challenge ended up being Aja and Irene the Alien, which I was like, yeah, I definitely saw. Although I did feel like Aja and Bosco were my choices. But then when they said Irene, I got why. Because I think the critique of during Bosco's part, she was performing away from the camera at times. So I think that hurt her from getting into the top 2. But Bosco made up for it by winning the second challenge, which was Irene and Bosco, which Bosco ended up winning that challenge and getting the money and all that other stuff in the second challenge. The first challenge, it was Aja. And it's funny, it's like, damn, Irene wins twice, is in the top 2 twice, and then win none of the challenge, then walk away with the challenge, like the money and all other stuff. But I will say this, I'm glad that we're seeing Irene, even though I know like her personality could be a little bit polarizing. She's catty. She would have been definitely up there, the rival, if she would have lasted past the first episode. Her and Mistress Isabel Brooks, I definitely feel like they would have gone toe to toe in regards of like the shade that they will be throwing on the show. And that's what Irene does. Irene likes to stir it up. And I'm here for it because it's good TV. And I've always felt like when in that first episode, when she did the whole ice challenge, I feel like nobody should have went home in that episode. And I'm glad. I think like when they did that the following season, in season 17, I'll say, none of the girls went home for their challenges. So I wish they would have did that. Or y'all thought somebody was going to go home, and then they did the stupid lever thing, the badunkadunk tank. So I really wish they would have did that with her season, because to me, I've always kind of felt in my gut that Irene had so much more to prove, and I'm glad that we're actually seeing that with her this season. So shout out to her. And then can we talk about that damn Ice Spice song? First of all, that if you the shit fart, that has got to be the dumbest song, and I stand 10 toes down on that. I hated that song when it first came out, and I hated hearing that song when I watched the episode. Although drag queens performing it will always make that song tolerable. But Ice Spice lyrically, girl, you are trash. Your music is trash. I did not understand why they chose her. I'm like, damn, if they run out of the budget when it came to Katy Perry, and so they could only book Ice Spice. Like, is that what happened from season 17? Y'all spent all the budget on Katy Perry. That all that was left for All Stars, y'all can only get her. Which is why it feels like a lot of the girls or a lot of the people that are coming on to be judging this current upcoming season, they feel like leftovers from previous seasons. But we got Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo, Kate Beckinsale, Coleman Domingo, fine ass was in the second episode. So I wasn't that upset that my other baby daddy, Coleman Domingo, was on the second episode. So the episode, results marked a jaw-dropping transformation for Irene, previously known as Irene Dubois. So I was living for that. And they said Irene the alien went from, so the fans and stuff was talking about this. So they said, one fan wrote on Twitter, Irene the alien went from being the first out of season 15 to winning the first 2 episodes of All Stars 10. So that is, they said, the best redemption we've ever seen in the history of the All Stars franchise. Insane. This is what one fan wrote on Twitter. Another person said, Irene the alien had the best redemption ever for a pork chop queen. Irene slayed the first runway, which looks absolutely phenomenal. She slayed the rock challenge. A third agreed, I'm so effing proud of her. She has nothing to lose this season, and she won the first 2 challenges. She was one of, well, she didn't win the first 2 challenges. She made it to the top alongside the other girls. But I'm talking about if you win the lip sync. Well, she didn't win the challenges, I guess we'll say. She didn't win the lip sync. So I'll give you that. And they said, and she won the first 2 challenges. She was one of the girls I was really rooting for from this group, and she showed that she was more than just a pork chop queen, which I'm really hoping at this point, can we really entertain the idea of a season of pork chop queens? Like, can we all really entertain that now? Because if Irene Dubois I really feel like a pork chop queen has way more to prove now. Because if they come on the show, it's like, yeah, we were the first out, but we want to be able to, like, you can take this twist or whatever that y'all did with this season, with the current season, and put on the pork chop queens, which is like 18 queens, have them kind of go toe to toe with each other. The top 3 make it to the semifinals. Then the other girls got a sash up. So it gives them an opportunity to really like be in the pocket to last on the show before y'all start eliminating them. Give them like a 3-episode trial, and then you can kind of push them out. So I like that idea of this is what they, and keep this format going. Y'all can add a little twists and turns in there, but I like this whole format of, have 18 girls, then you film half of it, and then when we get those final 3, which they filmed around the same time that they filmed the what was it, the finale and the lip sync challenge, the Lollapalooza, when they did all that around the same time, was like a month ago. Then y'all could do something like that. So I hope that they keep this format. So now during All Stars 10 episode 1, even Ru seemed surprised at how short Irene's season 15 run was. Now, while speaking to Irene during his walk through the workroom, Ru questioned her on how she felt watching her time on season 15. He said, when you watch your season back, he began before correcting himself, when you watch your episode back, which was funny. Online fans have clocked the moment as one of the episode's best. The moment RuPaul corrected herself for saying episode instead of season when talking to Irene the alien about her time on season 15 was so effing shady. I'm crying, wailed one fan. Other pork chop queens who have been eliminated first in a season to return to the competition and perform well include Miss Vanjie, Problematic Ass Shangela, and Lemon. Yet none of the queens have managed to secure a place in the top 2 in the first 2 episodes of their returning seasons. Irene the alien, the history maker that you are. So that's all I want to really discuss in regards to the whole drag race thing, because it really wasn't nothing major to talk about, like how I would break down the regular seasons of Drag Race. I feel like what may happen is that I think around the time when they assimilate all of the surviving semifinal girls, once we get to the semifinals and they assemble everybody together like the Avengers, then I feel like that's when the show is going to start cooking with gas. But right now, it's just like not a lot's really going on. Not a lot's really standing out. I mean, except yeah, we had Aja got into it with Irene, but it was just banter. And then Bosco had a moment where she got a little shady with Olivia, and we started seeing the real side of Olivia. Because one of the things I've had to say about Olivia Lux, I didn't particularly care for her on her season because I felt like she was holding back. I felt like the smile was a mask. And I am so glad that she mentioned that on the show because I'm like, girl, I clocked you from the beginning. Like, I knew there was a reason why I didn't like it because I felt like all that cheesing and all that smiling, it was a mask. You wasn't really being your true, authentic self on TV. I felt like you were self producing. And now that I feel like, we actually started seeing the real side of her now that she's comfortable, now that she knows how drag race works. And I really wish like a lot of queens would come on the show and just relax, stop worrying about what the fandom thinks, because guess what? The next season comes, nobody's going to give a damn about what you did the season before. So just go in, have a good time, stop trying to self-produce and all that stuff. But to me, my top three is already in. Well, top two out of the three is in here. I definitely see Bosco making it to the semifinals. I definitely see Aja making it to the semifinals, and I definitely see Irene. Those are my top three. I like Deja. She looks great. I was going to say she kind of giving me black Shishi LaRue tees with her overall look as of late, but she ain't really been standing out for me to make it to the next thing. I like who else? Olivia's cute or whatever, but yeah, I don't see her making it far. Except she would have to be kind of piggybacked, like she was Roxy before. Her All Star season. All Star, what was it, 9? Where she didn't have to be carried, but she had to be carried in them other seasons with Rolaska tops. Like it's giving me that you're relying on Mimo, which would be Mimu, which is Miyake Mugler. Which I was like, so wait, does that mean that Aja's not a LaBeija anymore? Because I remember when she was a LaBeija, and now she's a part of the Miyake Mugler. And we all know, like, y'all do change from house to house to house. Sometimes you'll be a 007, which means you're homeless, but when you're out without a house. But then when you join a new house, so wait, Miyake Mugler, that means she's with Tati and them. And didn't they do a show called My House on World of Wonder with the house of Miyake Mugler, which no shade, but Olivia looks like one of the members of the house of Miyake Mugler. I think it was like the father of the house. Because I actually liked that show when it was on, and hopefully they get a season 2. But um, if they do, then I can see Aja on that show as being a part of the house. Well, all the members. It is a good show if y'all have not checked it out. It's on Paramount, I mean not Paramount, Wow Presents Plus. So definitely check that show out and all that good stuff. I wanted to see if there was anything else I wanted to add to it. So yeah, I definitely see like my top would be Bosco, Aja, and Irene. The other three, they haven't really been stepping it up for me. It's like Deja is there, it's cute or whatever. I'm glad you're having your moment, but I definitely don't see you making it to the semifinals. And Phoenix is giving me what she gave me during her season, her earlier season, which is we know that you are one of the fiercest queens in drag, but on Drag Race, it just seems like you can't get out of your own way and you really can't step your pussy up and really give what needs to be given and what is required of these challenges. So I just don't see her making it far. So those are my top three, and I want to hear from y'all. Who is your top three that you could see making it to the semifinals before we move on to the next group of three for the next 3 weeks following once we get past next week? And what did y'all think overall of the first 2 episodes of Drag Race? I definitely want to hear from y'all. So let me know what your thoughts are on this story in the comments down below. Chill, hold on. Let me scroll on up because I see we got a whole lot. Oh yeah, we did that one right. It said we need that BGC energy on Drag Race. Mhm. I got lucky and watched the first 2 episodes of All Stars 10 on a Twitch stream. It was a screen recording, and the whole episode, no ads, and the streamer didn't interrupt or say anything throughout. I don't get it. Funny enough, I don't get ads on. You talking about on Twitch? But yeah, with Paramount Plus, I do the no ads. I think they do offer ads, and I heard their numbers went up with subscriptions. So Yeah, I didn't watch. I mean, I watched it, but it was I do the whole no ads on Paramount Plus. I like the banter. Aja and Ari. Willem talks about Jiggly around the 19-minute mark on Hot Goss episode 292. Hold on, let me look that. Thank you for the specifics, because let me look that up. Because I'm like, why is it not coming up? Is that on YouTube? Maybe I need to. Oh wait, I put God. Apparently, Chris can't spell. Oh, that says Hot Goss 292, Cowboy Carter, R.I.P. Jiggly, and yeah, I'm looking to that in the end. So Onyx says I didn't like the medal challenge either. The second challenge almost put child. Look, I knew I wasn't gonna make it. So I actually turned I was like, I already know because my eyes was getting heavy watching Drag Race as it is with the first episode. So I was like, I'm gonna just save the second episode for this morning. When I'm putting the show together, I'm gonna just watch it while I'm putting the show together. And I was way more alert with this one. But yeah, so I turned that off and put Living Single on. I watched like 3 episodes and I was like, okay, Chris, it is like 3:30. It is time to get some sleep. So um I agree. I don't like the medal challenge. The murder on the dance floor thing was kind of boring. I don't know what kind of accent Rue was doing, but okay. And I'm not even looking forward to next week's episode. I do not want to see a episode of them making over a bunch of basketball playing bulldaggers. I'm like, this is not going to be interesting to me. I don't care. But it's just like, can y'all really can y'all step y'all pussy up with these challenges? I'm so bored. It's like I'm not really feeling this season so far. A lot of people was talking about how season 17 wasn't that great. I'm like, no, this All Stars is so mid right now. Season 17 was way more entertaining. Well, Coleman always looked good in a suit. Ice Spice looked better without the fro. Yeah, but that music is still trash. I actually like the Ice Spice song. Unironically, it's supposed to be goofy, but neither of these girls deliver in that lips. Yeah, I just felt like Aja had her moments. Like when she was up there dancing and doing her ballroom stuff, it was cute. But it's like, yeah, if you're gonna do a song, if you the shit fart, like you got to be able to be kooky with it. Challenge the song. We definitely need a pork chop season, so I agree with that. Being a second out is worse than being a pork chop. Okay, because at least we remember the pork chops. No one remembers the queen who was eliminated. That is true because I don't remember who was the second queen eliminated this past season, season 17. I don't remember. Nor do I remember the season before. Was it Amethyst? Or she might have been the third. She was up for elimination twice. Phoenix has a child. She looked like a damn blowfish. But you know what? Phoenix's face, the filler looks good on her in drag. When she takes all that when she's in boy drag, it looks a mess. But when she's in drag, and I think that's why a lot of them do it with the fillers and stuff because they know like when you do the makeup and everything and the lip injections on, which Olivia got that too. She look a mess with the lip injection. I need her to lay off the lip injections like Naomi Smalls, and I'm glad Naomi stopped doing that because I remember on when she came back for All Stars, them lips look crazy. And I'm glad she kind of stopped it. You said, I hope Phoenix steps her Poussey. Not Poussey, because that was the character that Rue played and possibly makes it to the semifinals. I don't see her making it, but crazier things have happened, right? Especially with the whole point system. Because we got to see how they vote next week. Like Aja's in second, but I definitely feel like she's gonna need them points to catch up. Not bulldaggers. They talented at basketball. I'm really excited to see next week episode. I mean, I would still watch it because Drag Race, but I'm just not looking forward to it. Oh, you said the one I don't like, Joella. Okay. I'm glad somebody remembers. Anyway, let's move on to more Drag Race All Stars news, and let's talk about Miss Katya, who said that she was recently asked if she would return to Drag Race to do All Stars. And speaking of Willem in Alaska, she did appear on Race Chasers to answer this very question. So because we were talking about Race Chasers earlier. So Yekaterina Zamalchikova, who your dad could just call Katya, first graced our screen on season 7 of the show in 2015, placing 5th before returning just a year later and making the final of All Stars 2. Though she missed out on the crown, she was a firm fan favorite, and fans almost immediately calling for her return. And now that some queens, Ginger Minge, have returned for 3 separate All Stars, is a Katya return on the cards. And another thing, before I get to what she said, I do feel like, I don't know, in my gut, I do feel like, and I meant to bring this up, but I got to see how she performs to really confirm this. But why do I feel this is like a season of what y'all did with oh my god, what's his name? Um the clown from Canada. Remember when y'all set people up where it's like, oh, it's clearly y'all season, or like Sasha Colby with season 15. Oh, pretty much y'all giving it to Sasha Colby. And then when it comes down to All Stars, oh, y'all setting it up for this person to win. Why do I feel like this is gonna be a season where y'all get a crown to Ginger Minge? But we'll see. Or like even Global All Stars, which was god awful. It was a season clearly y'all set up for Alyssa Edwards to win. Which, by the way, she performed in New York the other day, and one of my friends actually went to go see her and did a meet and greet and everything. So I saw their pictures. Now, unfortunately, they said that the answer is no. She said, I've been approached. I have been tapped to go back on All Stars, and I have RSVP'd in the negative multiple times. She told All Stars 2 winner and season 4 Firebrand Willem on she told All Stars 2 winner. She didn't win. What the hell are they talking about? I don't think what they meant in this article, the All Stars. Wait, no, because she didn't even win All Stars either. I just feel like, okay, Willem was on season 4 of Drag Race. They messed up in this whole, and see, now it's going to drive me crazy because the way they wrote about it. Chris, move on. She said, I was either going to do a no call, no show. This is what she said jokingly. I was just going to agree to go and then not call and not show up. That's cunty. Well, look, and then they said that's what happened with, what's his name? Um, the straight queen that was supposed to be on All Stars 10, Maddie Morphosis. She's supposed to be on the show, and then she did I don't even know if she showed up. So I can't say if she did a no call, no show. Look, that just that quick. I forgot the article because we talked about it the other day. I might have to go back and watch that to confirm what I had said in the whole situation with what's her name? Miss Brooks, not Mistress, the other one brought up. So she said, yeah, she was going to do a no call, no show. She said, Willem then chimed in, you should send me. They won't know. So it seemed like in all of this stuff, it seemed like, yeah, at the end of the day, Willem low key wants to go back on Drag Race. But because she's talked so much shit about so many of the things that's going on behind the scenes, spilled so much tea, and has gone toe to toe with RuPaul verbally cussing each other out, F you this, F you that, both on both sides. I just don't see Ru being the bigger person and trying to play diplomatically with Willem on the show. So Willem ain't never gonna grace the stage of RuPaul's Drag Race, let alone drag queen. So you might as well just X that out. Now, they're saying while Katya won't be on it, All Stars 10, is out, with the first 3 episodes set to start the brand new tournament format of the spinoff with 6 queens in the Orange group: Aja Bosco, Deja Scott, Irene the Alien, Olivia Lux, and Phoenix. While Team Orange was the first to enter the ring, Team Purple consists of Acid Betty, Alyssa Hunter, Cynthia Lee Fontaine, and her cuckoo, Diabetica, Denali, and Ginger Minge, while the Pink Sisters are Mistress Isabel Brooks, Lydia Butthole Collins, Nicole Page Brooks, Georges, Tina Burner, Tinta Burnta, Turn It and Burn It, and Kerry Colby. Which I have a feeling how they're going to do this. Excuse me. The next group, I think, is going to be Team Purple, which would make sense because I do feel like say the best for last. And when you're talking about when you got Mistress being messy and you got George's Tina Burner, that's a pretty strong team. And Lydia Boho Collins, you want Lydia to kind of come in last because she is the girl that was a part of, she's from season 17. So you don't want to have her come in the second group. I would say, excuse me, have the pink girls come in last. So hopefully they do that. And so I can't wait to see how this all turns out when it happens. But excuse me, damn cold is kicking my behind. So I say all this to say, What do you guys think of this story? Are you sad to hear that Miss Mamas herself, Yekaterina Zamolchikova, is not coming back to appear on Drag Race for All Stars? I think some people just feel like they're beyond that. They're ready to move on. They don't want to keep doing, Drag Race. If all the drag queen said he wouldn't come back and do it, there's so many people that's like, I moved on from the show. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. I'd like to see Katya come over. She wouldn't do it. Oh, you said she's a pit stop guest, so I gotta say, wait a minute. Also, did they release an Untucked of RuPaul's Drag Race? Because I gotta go around and watch that too. I think they did. I think Katya would only come back if it was the All Stars non-format. Same goes with Details, Kimchi, Pearl, Miss Fame, and all the top fan favorites who don't want to risk coming back and getting eliminated. I just feel like, you know what? Maybe the easiest way to go about it is getting around the whole elimination, sort of, is to follow this format. Have them in different tournaments, have a group of 6, have them working on it out and do whatever challenges at hand. And then the top 3 who makes it, depending on the points, they make it to the semifinals. I just think that should be the thing that they continue with, unless y'all can come up with something better. But I do like this format, so stick with it. And then that could be a way to bring people back. But you know what? They should also do a fan favorite episode. Look, there's so many different ways that they can go about. So it's like, yeah, the pork chop season, we need a fan favorite season. That'll be great. She was asked to be on Canada versus the World season 1. So was Valentina. Oh, and Taste. Manny never showed up to the whole. Oh, okay. So then Nicole Page Brooks, but she said that. So then that means she did a no call, no show. Okay, sis. Well, hopefully they ain't sending you no money. I think they're called brackets 1, 2, and 3 for a reason. Katya is a drag icon for short. $200,000, child. They need to be given more than $200,000 damn dollars. Like you said, there is an Untucked. That's what I thought. I was like, I could have sworn there's an Untucked. So because to me, the show felt like, yeah, there is an Untucked. So I gotta go and look that up later. That they have created their own platform. Yeah, there's some people who manage to create their own platforms outside of Drag Race. Then there's some people who go because they like being on TV. So that's why they keep going back. But all right, y'all. So let's move on to our final topic, and let's talk about Lil Nas X, who has just announced that he is pulling out of the 2025 Out Loud Music Festival that's supposed to take place around WeHo Pride. And don't even get me started. We got that, and we got that old Zionist asshole, Richie Torres, him and that Magilla Gorilla looking bastard mayor of ours. I can't stand him. And I can't wait till we get rid of him. Eric Adams, who forced that whole Pride event to be canceled because Kalani came out and was all pro-Palestine and anti-Israel because of what they're doing to the people. Y'all are starving people. In addition of y'all not dropping bombs, you're not sending aid in food or medicine, and you're literally causing famine. So if we're being called out for the bombing of people, but we're also seeing, and I've been seeing the pictures, I've been reposting the pictures on my Instagram stories, and I saw that there was a YouTube show that I was watching that posted a video of people being starved. So Lil Nas X is pulling out of this festival, and I think it's due to because he had the Bell's palsy situation that happened. So yeah, it was announced via the festival's social media pages on Thursday morning, and I have it here. So hold on. So now it says, over the past few days, we've been in close contact with Lil Nas X and his team regarding an ongoing medical issue. Due to this, we are sad to announce that Lil Nas X will no longer be able to perform at Outloud Music Festival at WeHo Pride. He shared the statement with us, saying, "After my recent hospital visit, I like all of you should." But hold on. I, like all of you should, must prioritize my health and getting back to 100%. I had to get the tone right before I read it. As it currently stands, I will not be able to perform the type of show my fans and community deserve. I'm sorry. Even though I can't be there, I hope you all show out for Pride. Now more than ever, we need to be seen. And that is so true because with everything that's going on, we got the current administration trying to roll back the rights of trans people. They don't want them in the military. We're hearing like they're trying to gut money, funding, and all the other stuff from going into Pride events. So this is a time where we need to resist and go back to when Pride was a protest. We could still have our fun. And one of my friends was telling me in Spain, they do the whole Pride protesting thing. And then after they've gotten the protesting and stuff out of the way, then they go and they do the parties and all that other stuff. So we need to get back to that. I think a lot of people forget what Pride was truly about. Pride did start as a protest, hence the Stonewall riots and things of that nature. So this is the time that we need to get back to reminding people that our rights are at stake, being a part of the LGBTQ plus community. Wait, hold on, let me scroll over and see what this thing is. Oh, so that's the actual cover of Out Loud. So yeah, some people in the comments said that. Who is that? She isn't anything compared to Little Nas. What a Is this somebody? Oh, Seth Knight, the adult performer. Wait, are you trying to throw shade at the person that I just scrolled over to, saying like, who is she? So now another person says, so basically we paid a lot more this year than last year. And now one of the headliners is someone you would see at a free concert. Wait, so is this the girl that's performing? Remy Wolf? I don't know who that is. The name sounds familiar, but I'm not familiar with her. Another person said, love that Lil Nas X is prioritizing his health, but are refunds available for people who were going specifically to see him? Another person said, why not at least elevate Kim Petras to that slot? That is a good question. Why not? Because she is one of the most successful trans pop stars out right now. She did win a Grammy thanks to her Unholy track with Sam Smith. So why not move her up? If you still want to keep that money coming in, I do feel like y'all need to push. The smart thing to do, marketing wise, would to bump her up to a bigger, significant part, make her the headliner now that he stepped out, and then try to find somebody y'all can push in there real quick. I don't know. What is Troye Sivan? Is Troye Sivan on this gig? Get him to do it. Or somebody like that. Look, there's plenty of queer artists out here y'all can pick from. Or maybe y'all could try to get Doechii. I don't know. What's she doing? So, as y'all know, in April, Little Nas X was hospitalized due to a case of partial facial paralysis, according to Rolling Stone, which we all call, Bell's palsy. And I do have that video. I don't want to show it again, so we're not going to do that. So okay, so that's what it is. So that is who it was when I scrolled over to that, because I was like, I didn't hear what they mentioned her or whatever. So yeah, they said a huge thing in the rising queer star Remy Wolf is stepping in and joining us on our main stage. We can't wait to welcome Remy to Out Loud at WeHo Pride. Now Wolf will headline the festival along with previously announced. Okay, so it's Lizzo, Kim Petras, Pablo Vittar, and more. But here's the thing: you could have elevated any one of those people. Pablo Vittar is very popular. And so is Kim Petras. So you could have elevated her to being on the main stage and then, or as the headliner. But people don't know Remy Wolf enough. Well, I guess maybe the homosexual men don't, because I'd be one of them. I'm not familiar with Remy Wolf's music. And I'm sure that there are some people who are. But I would have elevated, Lizzo, Lizzo is still giving, even though she's out here trying to rehabilitate her image, it is definitely giving performative tease. Like recently, I saw the internet was divided on Lizzo because Lizzo, after the Met Gala, showed up at a drag bar with a film crew and was about, giving praise to all the drag queens and, drag queens or the gays in general. They're just so happy they get an A-list celebrity in the room. They don't see the forest for the trees. So a lot of people was online and being very critical and being like, oh, this feels very performative. This don't feel really authentic coming from her. And oh, so you say all this stuff about the drag queen, but you got a whole film crew up in there. So it didn't feel authentic. And that's how some people was feeling. But in wrapping all this up, I'm definitely here for you, Lil Nas X. I'm get yourself together. Focus on your whatever this is that's going on with your face. I've had Bell's palsy before. It's no joke. I was just going around doing all this, massaging the face, whatever, and eventually my face went back to normal. But Bell's palsy is like a lot of people get it. It is, probably due to stress or whatever. I'm sure you're going to come out of this on the other side, but your health and is should be first priority, and that's for anybody. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Are you bummed that you're not going to be able to see Lil Nas X at the Outloud Music Festival at WeHo Pride? I'm sure the ones that I mentioned before are going to be at what was it, the Ladyland Festival, which I'm looking forward to in New York, in Brooklyn, because they got a lot of good queer performers that's going to be performing at that. I'm going to try to see if I can go to that one if I'm not busy around the time of the Pride. But anyway, so let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Mm-hmm. What you said? Oh yeah, I did see that he spoke to New York News. I didn't watch it, but I did see that it was all over social media. I'll probably take a gander at it, and then who knows, maybe I'll talk about it when I come back for another episode. Aside from his medical condition, I honestly don't care. He said, "You have so much potential, but he let stunts and controversy override his talent." That's true. Hopefully he learned his lesson, and he's willing to now focus on getting people interested in his talent and not the stunts and shows. So, you know, we'll see. Agreed. Nicole was the second out on season 2. She has never appeared on the show since it's been Nicole Page Brooks hasn't appeared on the show, and Phoenix too. Phoenix was like what, second? She was chopped on what, like the second or the third episode of her season as well, and hasn't appeared. Remy Wolf. It says she had a viral song on the Clock app 5 years ago during quarantine. She's alternative, but not interesting. Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking. It's like you pick some alternative, some lesbian performer, and I don't think that's gonna be enough to get the queers interested in wanting to see her on the stage. Like I could definitely see it now. She got up there singing her song. They all gonna be standing looking at her like, okay, sis, do something. Like, you not what's this giving? Like that's literally what I feel like people are gonna be looking at her as, and it's unfortunate because this is an opportunity for people to get to know other talents. But there's so many other queer artists out here. Why didn't they pick Vincent? Why didn't they pick Hicks? I would even say, why didn't you pick Todrick? But Todrick busy in London, I think, still, right? I haven't heard from him in a minute. We need our own gay talent reality show, dancers, comedians, singers like Star Search Gates. I wish that we had like something like a queer centered American Idol. I wish we had something like that where we could have our own dancers. Look, I've been saying for the longest we need our own festival like Lollapalooza or Coachella, stuff like that, or Ozfest. I think Rumi is more popular than Pablo. Kim is debatable, but she also hasn't had a hit song. Quiet as is kept. And now that allegedly the rumor is that she's parted ways from who did she what's his name? Dr. Luke. And she's no longer around him. Maybe she can get some new bops outside of that. Look, if Kesha could do it and find producers that are Dr. Luke-esque without working with Dr. Luke, then she could find them too. I want them to bring back the big homosexual sketch. So especially after Coleman mentioned it and I like the fact that he brought up the big gay sketch show because a lot of people, I think, forget that that's where he started. Hmm. Oh, is she? Okay. Not no. To be fair, WLW artists clearly tend to be taken more serious than homosexual men in the industry. Yeah. Yeah, that is true. It's sort of like they take lesbians more seriously, even though they ain't really be given. Like the only one I feel like that's a homosexual female that people take seriously that they entertain it'd be Kalani, except she just got canceled because she's standing up for an oppressed group of people. And Chapel Roan. Those seem to be the only two. But at least Chaperone giving us so that she's not just standing up there strumming a guitar and performing. She's giving, costumes and making and drag and art and, pomp and circumstance. And I feel like that's what we are now. I just heard also, speaking of which, when I was mentioning The Who and Lord coming to the garden. I just heard that Benson Boone already booked a date at Madison Square. I'm like, he's at that point where he's selling out arenas? Really? I don't know. Oh yeah, I forgot about Billie Eilish. I forgot all about Billie Eilish. And yeah, she sold out her show. Sabrina hints at, ooh, I wouldn't be surprised if she gets down with the women's. Y'all think Barry Keoghan is fluid too? Yeah, Melissa Etheridge. Well, yeah, it was different then. It was like in the 90s, where it was like it was more accepting for just some regular woman who had on t-shirt and jeans and strumming a guitar. That's what you, because it was like during the grunge era, so she can kind of float in that world. Her and Katie Lang and so many others. Speaking of which, let me tell my country stars. I just heard that Leanne Rhymes got her a gig. She about to be on 911 Nashville or something or another that they're doing, her and Brad Paisley's wife, who started out as an actress before she got with him, but Lopez was canceled, and I love it. She gets, I mean, she getting invited everywhere. It's like the industry trying to shove. It's like kind of like trying to make fetch happen. Like they're trying to shove her down our throat. Although we still kind of looking at why y'all trying to give us like we don't care for that girl. Stop trying to shove Lizzo down our throat. We ain't feeling her like that. Take you serious. I guess gay men because they're dance and too upfront with their sexuality is deemed too unacceptable. Well, look, fuck the mainstream. I just feel like and especially at a time when I think in Gen Z specifically, there's more Gen Zers coming out as queer than any other demographic. This is not the time for people to cower in the closet and be afraid to express themselves. So and the industry don't want to catch up. They want to continue to lag behind. And we're going to see more and more and more younger queer artists come out and be their authentic selves and not needing a record label. They could just put their stuff straight up on social media. Like with Kelly Clarkson. Kelly Clarkson's another one who I just heard has her own label and is releasing her own music on her label, which is why when she said to Kesha, when Kesha came on, she was like, why are you releasing it as independent? Which I know why you are, but just, because they're back in this, they're both doing it. They're both independent artists releasing stuff on their own label, which might be a whole lot easier. Well, it's not easy. If you have the money, you can do it. You have to do your own marketing, your own promotion, and all that stuff. I don't know if this is a Gen Z homosexual thing, but I notice we tend to get along with women a lot more than our own kind. Yeah, I think it's always kind of been that way until they come out their face and try to call you every name under the sun that we got to cuss their ass out. But for the most part, I think that, yeah, gays do tend to get along more with women than anything. That's a universal thing. Every gay had their own hag. Yeah, because trust and believe, I had hags when I was coming up, especially when I worked at when I worked at ACQC. I couldn't tell you how many hags I worked with and how we all go out to the bar and get drunk and have a good time. Or sometimes we go to the gay bar in Queens because they had a lot of bars out there with Friends Tavern and Luchos and so many other ones. First of all, I love the Queens bars where all the Latin boys be at. I'm like, especially the little Mexican ones and them Colombians. Child, I don't know where they be breeding them Colombian boys, but they're just let me move on. They are something else. Own our own brands, exactly, and our own labels, absolutely. And at one point, we was doing it. Like, well, what was it? Oh my God, what was the name of Tommy Boy Records? They had so many out artists, queer artists, and then also Peace Biscuit. Peace Biscuit was another label. Like we was having all that stuff back in the days. Peace Biscuit, they released music from Caswell, Amanda Lepore. Then we had people like Kevin Aviance was on labels and stuff, and it's changed so much. So there was, and I remember they did at one point Tommy Boy's Silver Label, I think was the name of the queer branch, where they had like um Christine W. And then there were other artists who were on those labels. I think Deborah Cox was on that at one point too. And then we had oh my God, who's the one that was doing the freestyle music? the Filipina, Jocelyn Henriquez. I remember her. I used to listen to her music a lot. I can't forget Jocelyn name. That's my goddaughter's name. So, excuse me. Lord, I can't wait to get rid of this damn cold. But in the meantime, I want to thank you all for tuning in to the latest episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. If you have not already, please hit that like button. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And also be sure to smash the notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. I want those, if you are in the chat and you are a mother, I want to wish you all a happy Mother's Day, which is in 2 days. And yeah, for everybody else, enjoy your weekend. Thank you all for keying with me in the chat. Thank you all for continuously supporting this channel. I have noticed the numbers are going up with the show, and I appreciate that this show is the little engine that is growing at the rapid rate that it is, because it is something that I put out in the ether, and I've been wanting this to happen, so it's happening. So thank you all for your continued support of my homosexual and sometimes non-homosexual shenanigans with this messy ass show. So thank you all for watching. Thank you all for tuning in. And until next time, ciao, darlings.